Hello, language teachers. Welcome to Easy and Enjoyable Teaching with Sikil. In this video, you are going to learn on how to use PowerPoint as the learning media to teach captions. Do you know what a caption is? Caption is one of the learning materials that should be studied as well as mastered by students of grade 12. It is in the first semester that students of grade 12 need to create their own captions based on the function of the text structures, and linguistic features. Caption is also a picture that has a meaning provided with a brief description. Since the learning material on caption should be learned by students of grade 12, there have been problems emerged. For example, students' limited knowledge on caption and their weak English language skills in constructing English sentences. So far, students do know caption, but what they know is a selfie caption. It is a selfie picture of themselves and they used to upload it in their IG or Instagram. They don't know that actually, captions are varied based on its types and use. In order to attract students' interest to learn captions, it requires a learning media that can motivate them to create a caption based on their own versions. Therefore, Microsoft PowerPoint is thought of as the solution to make them eager to learn and create meaningful captions. PowerPoint is a program developed by Microsoft that can be used to present various texts, pictures, photos, diagrams, videos, or even audio-based learning materials. Most importantly, PowerPoint can also be used for teachers to present the learning materials on caption, give tasks for students, and make use of it to read, as well as write captions requiring the students' critical thinking skills and creativity. Okay, so let's get started. There are 6 steps of learning captions using PowerPoint. The first step is to discuss the definition of caption and give examples of caption that have usually been used in daily life. In the PowerPoint, the teacher firstly explains the definition of caption and mentions types of caption used in daily life. Then, the teacher presents examples of the types of caption. The second step is to read and understand types of caption. The teacher assigns students to read some of the definitions of the types of caption. After that, the teacher assigns students to identify vocabularies written in the caption. Next, the teacher asks students a few questions related to the presented caption. The third step is to watch a tutorial video of creating a caption. In the PowerPoint, the teacher plays a tutorial video of creating a caption taken from YouTube. In this activity, both the teacher and students discuss the ways of creating a caption as shown in the tutorial video. The fourth step is to jointly write a caption in pairs. After watching the tutorial video of creating a caption on YouTube, students are divided into pairs and jointly write a caption. The caption can be either provided by the teacher or taken from the internet by the student themselves. The fifth step is to independently write a caption. In this step, the students need to create a caption independently. The sixth step is to present the captions. In the last step, the student should present their own caption using PowerPoint. The teacher and other students may ask questions and give their inputs regarding the caption presented in PowerPoint. Next, the student that has presented the caption should then upload it in Instagram. Guess this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Have a good day and may God bless you.
أهلا وسهلا بكم إلى مواد تعليم اللغة العربية بالفيديو المتحرك. من خلال هذا الفيديو سنتعلم تعبيرات بسيطة لأمر والنهي شخص من القيام بالشيء. هذه المادة مخصصة في تعلم اللغة العربية للصف 12 على مستوى المدرسة الثانوية. انتبه جيدا إلى المحادثة التالية بين علي وحسن في محطة مترو الإنفاق.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام. ماذا تريد يا أخي؟
أريد أن أذهب بمترو الإنفاق ولكني لا أفهم. هذه تجربتي الأولى.
طيب الآن اذهب إلى شباك تذاكر، اشتري تذكرة مترو إنفاق ذات اتجاه واحد.
هذه هي تذكرتي.
حسناً، ادخل إلى محطة المترو بالبوابة. هيا ندخل معا، سأذهب أيضا بمترو.
لا تفقد تذكرتك قبل الخروج من المحطة.
يجب أن تعرف المحظورات أثناء استخدام بمترو إنفاق. منها: لا تقف فوق الخط الأصفر على الرصيف، لا تقف بقرب من أبواب القطار، لا تأكل ولا تشرب في القطار.
طيب، هذه معلومات مفيدة.
هذا هو قطار ستركبه. رحلة سعيدة يا أخي.
شكرا.
عفوا.
إلى اللقاء.
مع السلامة.
العبارات للأمر: اذهب إلى شباك التذاكر، اشتري تذكرة مترو الإنفاق، ادخل إلى محطة مترو بالبوابة. العبارات للنهي: لا تفقد تذكرتك قبل الخروج من المحطة، لا تقف فوق الخط الأصفر على الرصيف، لا تقف بالقرب من أبواب القطار، لا تأكل وتشرب في القطار. الأمر: يذهب، اذهب، يشتري، اشتري، يدخل، ادخل. النهي: تفقد، لا تفقد، تقف، لا تقف، تأكل، لا تأكل. التدريب: اذكر صيغة الأمر والنهي في الكلمات التالية. صيغة الأمر: يجلسون. الجواب الصحيح اجلس. يكتب. الجواب الصحيح اكتب. صيغة النهي تقرأ. الجواب الصحيح لا تقرأ. تشرب. الجواب الصحيح لا تشرب. هكذا فيديو مواد التعليم اللغة العربية عن صيغ الأوامر والنواهي. عسى أن تفهموا جيدا. شكرا على اهتمامكم ونراكم في الفيديو التالي.
Hallo, mein Name ist Yolanda Mayanti. Ich bin zurzeit 11 Jahren an der SMA 1.5 Taruna Brawijaya, Jawa Timur, Indonesia Deutsch unterrichten. Es freut mich sehr, an dieser Fortbildung teilnehmen zu können. Die Zeit ist sehr flexibel, dass ich mein eigenes Tempo regeln kann. Das ist sehr gut für die Lehrkräfte mit vielen Aufgaben. Ich hoffe, es gibt noch weitere Fortbildungen, die so gut wie diese ist. Vielen Dank für Kita Language. Auf Wiedersehen.
Hello, I am Ling Eng and I'm from Cambodia. I'm an English teacher at AISOFOLL. I'm really grateful for being one of the participants to join the online training on teachers' language competence improvement. This e-learning program provides great learning opportunities to different teaching professionals to develop skills of their language expertise. These online platforms are designed for different categories of learning contents and tasks, and especially the flexibility for learners. At the end of the training period, there will be certificates given to the participants. I believe that different learning concepts will be developed and open to more participants in the future. Thanks to the organizers for this amazing learning experience.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Kori Hafiza Al-Husna, je viens de l'Indonésie. Je suis enseignante de français au lycée SMA Kapin Jakarta depuis un an. Je suis très content de participer à formation en ligne pour l'améliorer des compétences des enseignants de langue. Dans cette formation, je peux apprendre indépendamment avec une application Alticia pendant 3 mois. Grâce à cela, je peux enrichir mes connaissances et mes compétences de langue française, comme la compréhension orale, la compréhension écrite, la grammaire, la prononciation et aussi beaucoup de vocabulaire. J'espère que Shikil pourra organiser plus de formations en ligne, par exemple sur la compétence pour la production orale, soit la production écrite des enseignants de langue. Enfin, je remercie à Shikil qui m'a donné cette opportunité. Bon succès, au revoir!
Bei so einer Gelegenheit, ich möchte mich Ihnen vorstellen. Mein Name ist Mariana Mausali. Ich arbeite als Deutschlehrerin in der SMA Kristen 2 Kalabai seit 2019. Aber eigentlich lehre ich Deutsch seit 2018. Mein Land ist Indonesien. Meine Heimat ist Alor Insel in NTT. Ich bleibe begeistert, obwohl das nicht einfach ist. Ja. In der gleichen Zeit muss ich meine anderen Aktivitäten tun. Aber jetzt bin ich sehr stolz darauf. Ich kann das Programm bis Ende teilnehmen. Dieses Programm gibt mir viele Erfahrungen. Natürlich kann ich meine Deutschkenntnisse verbessern, vor allem Sinn, Wortschatz und Verstehen von jedem. Ich hoffe, dass das Programm besser im nächsten Jahr veröffentlicht wird. Es wäre vielleicht 2-mal im Jahr und es enthält auch mündliche Prüfung oder mündliche Tests. Endlich möchte ich sagen, vielen Dank, Yakil, für die Sonnengelegenheit.
Hi, my name is Sasudu. I'm a teacher from Malaysia. Now I'm teaching in SJKC Batangkali. I have been a teacher for 13 years. First and foremost, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to organizer Simeo Kitek to offer me such wonderful learning experience. During these 3 months of learning, I have bring my English to a level up. Thank you very much to the organizer and the program. I would like to encourage all my fellow friends to join this program if you have chance, because it really will make your English improve and let you learn in a wonderful way. So thanks again to organizer. See you on Kitek. Bye.
Assalamualaikum et bonjour à tous. Je m'appelle Gita Wahyuni Lumain. Je suis indonésienne et en ce moment j'habite à Kuala Lumpur en Malaisie. Je suis professeure de français au lycée indonésien de Kuala Lumpur et j'enseigne le français depuis 2 ans maintenant. Je suis contente d'avoir participé à ce programme car j'ai pu améliorer mes compétences en français à un niveau supérieur. Et en plus, la plateforme est très utile et facile à utiliser. Merci beaucoup Zikil de m'avoir donné la chance pour participer à ce programme. Et j'espère qu'à l'avenir, il y aura plus de programmes similaires afin que nous puissions continuer à améliorer nos compétences linguistiques pour enseigner la langue. Merci beaucoup et à la prochaine fois.
Hallo, ich heiße Nani Cahya, ich komme aus Jakarta, aus Indonesien. Ich bin Lehrerin an der SMA 84 und seit 2007 unterrichte ich Deutsch. Ich habe viel Wissen und Erfahrungen von der Plattform Audisia und auch von anderen befreundeten Teilnehmern gewonnen. Es ist wirklich nützlich. Es verbessert alle Sprachkenntnisse der Lernenden. Hoffentlich, dass es mehr Stipendien für Lehrer geben wird. Ich hoffe, dass ich eine weitere Chance zu haben, bei Siameo zu studieren. Danke an Siameo für alles, was sie mir und den Teilnehmern gebracht haben. Ihre Mitarbeiter haben sich sorgfältig alle Teilnehmer gekümmert und auch alle Fragen beantwortet. Danke nochmal. Beste Grüße an euch alle.
Bonjour, je vous présente. Je m'appelle Ayunda, je viens de l'Indonésie. Je suis enseignante du français au lycée 91 Jakarta depuis 1 an. Après avoir fini cette formation pendant 3 mois, je trouve que cette formation est très géniale, utile et enrichissante. Grâce à cette formation, je pourrais avoir beaucoup de nouvelles connaissances et développer mes compétences du français, soit la compétence écrite et aussi orale. Je suis très contente de participer à cette formation. À l'avenir, j'espère que Simeo Kitek in Language Skill pourra organiser plus de bonnes formations pour les enseignantes et je pourrai avoir une autre opportunité d'y participer. Enfin, je remercie Asikil pour cette opportunité. À la prochaine!
Welcome to Fun Learning with Sikil. In this video, we will learn how to express your opinion. Let's hear a conversation between Indira and Yusuf.
Hi Yusuf, what's up?
Hey Indira, what are you doing?
I just finished taking part in virtual fitness class.
Awesome, you are still active during this pandemic. By the way, have you heard the news? The government has asked the citizens to wear face masks when leaving their homes to prevent coronavirus transmission.
Yes, I have heard about that.
What is your opinion on that news? Should we all be wearing face masks?
Actually, there are debates of views for those who find face masks necessary and their opponents. I think that I would rather wear one than wear nothing.
Well, let's think about it. I have no doubt that we will see a shortage of protective equipment, particularly for medical workers who really need face masks. This will happen if everyone starts to wear face masks and involves in panic buying.
I see your point, but we don't have to wear a surgical mask, do we? We can wear a cloth mask when we leave the house for protection instead, then wash it with soap water.
Yes, I agree with your opinion. Surgical masks should only be worn by medical workers that are exposed directly to sick persons or patients.
Exactly. I wear a cloth mask when I go out for protection.
Hope the coronavirus pandemic will end and life gets back to normal. See you then, Indira.
Thank you for calling me, Yusuf. Stay healthy and fit during the pandemic.
From the conversation, let's see the sentence structure to express an opinion. I think that I would rather wear one than wear nothing. In this sentence, the subject is I, the verb is think, and the object is that I would rather wear one than wear nothing. Let's see another sentence. I have no doubt that we will see a shortage of protective equipment, particularly for medical workers who really need face masks. In this sentence, the subject is I, the verb is have, the object is no doubt that we will see a shortage of protective equipment, particularly for medical workers who really need face masks. From these sentences, we can see that the form of sentence is subject plus verb plus object. An opinion is how you feel or think about something or certain issues. There are at least 4 ways to express opinion. First, we can express a strong opinion when we are certain about what we think. These are phrases that we can use to express a strong opinion. I'm absolutely convinced that, I'm sure that, I strongly believe that, I have no doubt that. For example, I have no doubt that we will see a shortage of protective equipment, particularly for medical workers who really need face masks. I strongly believe that learning a new language could give real advantage for us to understand better its culture where the language is spoken. Second, we can express our opinion neutrally when we are not certain about our opinion or reluctant to express what we believe. These are phrases for expressing opinion neutrally. I think, I feel that, in my opinion, as far as I'm concerned, I suppose that, I must admit that I'm not sure. For example, I think we should study more about lessons to pass the final test.
In my opinion, providing free and comfortable public transportation is the best way for reducing the traffic congestion in the cities.
Third, we can express an objective opinion based on the research that you have heard or read. To express an objective opinion, we can use some phrases below. It is thought that, some people say that, it is considered, it is generally accepted that, The research seems to suggest, I've heard that. For example,
It is generally accepted that in today's world, the earth isn't flat.
Fourth, we can express a subjective opinion based only on our own personal experience. These are some phrases that we can use to express a subjective opinion. In my experience, what I've found is, as I see it, personally I think. For example,
In my experience, watching TV shows and movies in English helps me to learn English language.
in British English, there are some common phrases for expressing opinion. In my humble opinion. Saying in my humble opinion adds a bit of politeness for expressing your opinion. I reckon or I suppose. Using I reckon or I suppose to express an opinion with a slight sense of uncertainty. I reckon is used for informal situations, while I suppose is commonly used for more formal situations. I know. Saying I know means that you are certain that your opinion is correct and true. May I? May I is a very formal phrase in expressing your opinion and effectively asking for permission to join the conversation or debate. If you ask me, by asking if you ask me, you are directly entering the conversation, not necessarily with permission from the debate or conversation. If I were you, this is a diplomatic phrase for expressing your opinion because you are not directly telling them what to do, but simply saying what you would do if you were in the same situation. You can agree or disagree when your friends or colleagues share their opinions, as long as you have a reason. We use these words and phrases to agree with someone else's opinion. You're absolutely right. Exactly. Yes, I agree. I have exactly the same opinion as you. I share your opinion. For example,
Yes, I agree with your opinion. Surgical masks should be worn only by medical workers that are exposed directly to sick persons or patients.
Exactly. I wear a cloth mask when I go out for protection.
when you are disagreeing with someone else's opinion, you can use these phrases. I see your point, but. I'm sorry to disagree with you, but. I don't agree with you. I'm not so sure about that. For example,
I see your point, but we don't have to wear a surgical mask.
that's all for this lesson. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? We are going to start the opening of the 12th Annual International Symposium of Foreign Language Learning in a few minutes. Before we starting, we kindly request everyone on site to turn on your mobile phone into silent mode. Thank you for your cooperation. Deputy Director for Administration and Communication of CMIO Secretariat, Dr. Kritsachai Somsaman, the Acting Head of Bureau of Cooperation and Public Relations of Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Anang Ristanto, Board of Directors or representatives of CMIO centers in Indonesia, representatives of education offices, partner universities, and partner institutions, Director of CMIO Kitab in Language, Dr. Luhani Mayani, our keynote speakers, invited speakers, presenters, participants, all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to the opening ceremony of the 12th Annual International Symposium of Foreign Language Learning, or the 12th AISOFOLL. My name is Farah Halimatu Sadia, and I am the Master of Ceremony for the symposium. Ladies and gentlemen, may I read the agenda of the opening ceremony as follows. First, singing the national anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya, followed by the presentation of Simeo Color and Simeo Song, welcoming remarks by Director of Simeo Kitab in Language, opening remarks by Deputy Director for Administration and Communication of Simeo Secretariat. Last but not least, group photo sessions. Ladies and gentlemen, to start our agenda, may we invite everyone on site to stand up to sing the national anthem of Indonesia, Indonesia Raya, and followed by presentation of Simeo Color. Thank you. You may be seated. Now, we will see the presentation of Simeo song.
It's time to open our eyes to a bright and promising future. We'll rise to the call of the times and create a stronger tomorrow. Let's start to make a difference, teaching everyone to learn through science, health, and technology. We will share our expertise by promoting knowledge and policies. We can build a better world. Let us take a stand for our visions alone, making future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and clean air and symphony. Building the future is our legacy. We'll achieve our goals through partnership, creating opportunities. By working hand in hand, we can accomplish all our dreams. For a better quality of life is now within our reach. Let us take a stand for our visions alone, making future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and clean air and symphony. Building the future is our legacy. Let us take a stand for our visions alone, making future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and clean air and symphony. Building the future is our legacy. Building the future is our legacy.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we invite the Director of Simeo Kitab and Language, Dr. Luani Mayani, to deliver welcoming remarks. To Dr. Luani, the floor is yours.
Distinguished Deputy Director of Administration and Communication, Simeo Secretariat, Dr. Kritsachai Somsaman, Acting Head of Bureau of Cooperation and Public Relations of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Anang Ristanto. Board of Directors or representatives of Simeo centers in Indonesia, representatives of education offices, partner universities, and partner institutions, distinguished keynote speakers, invited speakers, and presenters, distinguished guests, all participants, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you all. First of all, let us praise and express our gratitude to the God Almighty for giving us blessing to gather both virtually and face-to-face in the opening ceremony of the 12th Annual International Symposium of Foreign Language Learning, AISOFOLL of Semiokitab in Language. It is a great pleasure and honor for us to greet and welcome you all here in this symposium. This year is the second time we hold AISOFOLL virtually due to the COVID-19 pandemic situation. This situation has certainly not been easy for all of us, either for teachers, education personnel, or even for students. It has brought major changes in all aspects of life, including education. Changes in the educational system have caused difficulties for students in teaching and learning. The pandemic has challenged all parties to change its learning mode from face-to-face into online learning. Ladies and gentlemen, to face this situation, the utilization of technology has become a crucial point in supporting and enhancing language learning. Although technology cannot replace the existing conventional methods, the availability of technology fortified the education processes. I believe this symposium on the theme, the use of technology to assist teachers and students in language learning, will provide us a forum to learn and share research and good practices on technology integration in language learning. Ladies and gentlemen, technology will have an impact on dynamic cultures in modern societies. Gender equity has become one of the concerns in the development of new technologies. Girls are less likely to study STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics as their subject at schools or universities. This situation implies that women are less likely to choose STEM as their occupation or career. Hence, this situation might not benefit women from the opportunities offered by digital technologies. Moreover, the pandemic also affected men and women differently. For women, while having household responsibilities, they are also hit by the closure of school and child care facilities. These facts aided issues that women already face in achieving parity in the technology sector. With the rapid adoption of technology during the pandemic, there will be a strong demand for new roles in technology. In brief, the empowerment of women in the technology is a crucial issue to shape an equitable society. The involvement of women in the development of technology and innovation will give significant contribution in recovering the gender imbalance. Thus, gender equity should be put at the forefront of the agenda in designing new roles of technology. Invited guests, speakers, ladies and gentlemen, please let me inform you that this symposium will be held for 2 days, on the 6th and 7th October 2021, in a blended mode by presenting 4 keynote speakers. Mr. Yuan Bonner from Kanda University of International Studies, Japan. Mr. Russell Stannard, teachertrainingvideos.com, United Kingdom. Miss Frances Sinanu, Kristen Satya Wacana University, Salatiga, Indonesia. And Dr. Randall Martin, British Columbia Council for International Education. In addition, there will be 6 invited speakers and 12 presenters. This symposium is attended by participants from Indonesia, the Philippines, Malaysia, Myanmar, Laos PDR, and Thailand. Thank you very much to all parties participate in this symposium. Special thanks to our university partners, Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia and Universitas HKBP Nomensen Pematang Siantar. We believe that the presence of the language education experts, as well as language teachers and educators, will bring success to this symposium. Let us evoke the positive spirit of advancing language education in Southeast Asia region. We do hope that you will have a wonderful and fruitful discussion during this 2 days symposium. Before I end my welcoming remark, I would like to congratulate all teachers a happy World Teachers' Day, which was celebrated yesterday on the 5th of October. May your wisdom, dedication, and kindness will always lead all students to the right path and inspire them to be better human beings for the better future and the better world. Finally, we would like to invite Dr. Kritsachai Somsaman, the Deputy Director of Administration and Communication, CMEO Secretariat, to deliver an opening remark and officially open the 12th Annual International Symposium of Foreign Language Learning. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Dr. Luani. Next, as our main agenda, may we invite Deputy Director for Administration and Communication of CMEO Secretariat, Dr. Kritsachai Somsaman, to deliver remarks and officially open the 12th AISOFOLL. To Dr. Kritsachai, the floor is yours.
Honorable High Officials from Minister of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia. Honorable Board of Directors and representatives of CMEO Centers. Honorable Dr. Luani Mayani, Director of CMEO Kitab in Language, and the team of organizers from this annual international symposium. Distinguished guests and speakers, ladies and gentlemen, selamat pagi, good morning to you all. On behalf of the Director of CMEO Secretariat, Dr. Ethel Agnes Pascua Valenzuela, I would like to welcome everyone to this prestigious International Symposium of Foreign Language Learning, or AISOFOLL, which has been held annually. The first AISOFOLL was held on the 20th of October 2010, and this annual International Symposium keeps continuing successfully and prosperously as we are here together to celebrate an achievement of the 12th AISOFOLL. I am very delighted to see the advancement of AISOFOLL, which has been remarkably progressing year after year. The very first AISOFOLL in 2010 was focusing on exploring standards for foreign language learning in Southeast Asia. Consequently, the themes of the subsequent years revolve around the creative ideas, studies, and research that help making foreign language learning better and effective. I can still recall the theme of last year. The 11th AISOFOLL was facing industrial revolution 4.0 through language education. This includes the issue of artificial intelligence and autonomous learning, as well as global citizenship, which was very timely and absolutely significant. And the continuity of the ideas has led to the marvelous theme of this year, the use of technology to assist teachers and students in language learning, which represents the most advanced and innovative aspect of the field. The topic under these themes, which include different types of technologies, as well as the impact on language learning, are highly significant to the advancement toward the future of education, especially with the movement of lifelong learning. Personally, I'm really glad to see the use of augmented reality and virtual reality in language learning. To tell you the truth, 25 years ago, when I was a master's student in engineering, I took a very innovative class at that time called virtual reality. 25 years ago, we could hardly imagine and conceptualize on how augmented reality and virtual reality would be applied to our everyday life. Thank you for all of the speakers and participants here today for your great contribution in bringing the underlying technology to actual practice. Thank you for making our dreams come true, and thank for making use of technology to ease learning, as well as emphasizing gender equality on technology uses and helping students to be joyful and learning and successful on their journey. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my heartfelt pleasure and honor to be here with you today on this auspicious occasion that marks the 12th Annual International Symposium of Foreign Language Learning. Despite the COVID-19 pandemic, this symposium successfully gathered experts in language education which are very influential and knowledgeable in the field. The 4 keynote speakers are world-renowned experts from Japan, from United Kingdom, from our own Indonesia, and from our semi-owned new associate member, the British Columbia Council of Education from Canada. I am confident that each of you will attain a lot of critical knowledge that will equip you with advanced knowledge of the future of foreign language learning. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to give the heartiest gratitude to all speakers, presenters, and to the organizer, semi-equipped in language, for your continuing support of these flagship programs. With these remarks, I wish all of you a very successful symposium and fruitful deliberation. I hereby declare this 12th Annual International Symposium of Foreign Language Learning officially open. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Dr. Kritsachai. Ladies and gentlemen, now we will proceed with the group photo sessions. There will be 2 virtual group photo sessions. And please remain in your position after the first session. May we kindly invite Deputy Director for Administration and Communication of CMU Secretariat, Dr. Kritsachai Somsaman, all keynote speakers, Mr. Yuan Bonner, Mr. Russell Stannard, Ms. Frances Sinanu, and Dr. Randall Martin, and Board of Directors of CMU Kitab in Language, to open your camera and put on your best position. I will lead the photo session. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please, we apologize that the photo session will need several minutes to be conducted. So please put on your best position until I will count to 3. Okay, I will count to 3. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Now, for the second group photo session, may we invite the acting head of Bureau of Cooperation and Public Relations of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Anang Ristanto, Board of Directors of or representatives of Simeo Center in Indonesia, partner institutions, Goethe, Japan Foundation and Tanata Foundation, and also representative of Office of Education, to open your camera and put on your best position. I will count to 3. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the opening ceremony of the 12th AISOFOLL. We kindly announce that the plenary session 1 will start at 10:10 with the agenda of presentation by Mr. Yuen Bonner and Mr. Russell Stannard. Thank you very much for your kind attention and cooperation. See you on the plenary session 1.
Hello, language teachers. Welcome to Easy and Enjoyable Teaching with Sikil. Now, this episode is about how to improve the students' English speaking skills using a smart application named Orai. Do you have problems in improving your students' speaking skills? No worries, you are not alone. Most language teachers face difficulties in improving their students' speaking skills. Psychological factors such as shyness, fear of mistakes, anxiety, lack of confidence, and lack of motivation are some prominent factors that hinder students from speaking in the classroom. In context of language class, the students become reluctant to practice their speaking skills. Well, the good news is, one of our colleagues, Ms. Safitri Wayuni, an English teacher in East Kalimantan, has a best practice in improving her students' speaking skills. In her case, she uses a smart application called Orai to help improving her students' speaking performance. So the first question will be, what is Orai? Orai is a smart application that can be used to improve the speaking skills since it can assess its users' performance. This application can be downloaded from the Play Store for all smartphones, either Android or Apple operating system based. Next, you might wonder, actually, in what lesson did she use Orai and how to use it in the classroom? Here's the answer. Miss Safitri used Orai for English lesson on self-introduction. And here are 6 teaching steps that she has conducted in her classroom. First, assigning students to download Orai application on their cellular phones. Second, requesting students to practice their speaking skills using Orai, in which they have to talk based on a topic suggested in the application. On this step, students choose the feature Practice. Click the option Give me a topic and then click the option Practice Now. After that, students practice their speaking by reading available sentences on the screen provided by Orai for 2 minutes. Third, students check feedbacks and transcript from Orai. The aspects assessed are speaking pace, fillers, clarity, pausing, and intonation, as well as conciseness. This is the sample image of feedbacks provided by Orai. Here, we have one more sample of feedbacks. Okay, now let's go to the next step. Fourth, giving tasks to students to speak about their own self-introduction on the application. Students choose the feature Practice. Click the option Free, then they introduce themselves for 2 minutes. Fifth, asking again the students to check feedbacks and transcript from Orai. Sixth, or the last steps, students and the teacher discuss about the speaking practices on self-introduction. They also conduct a reflection on how to solve problems that they encounter while doing the practices on the application. That's all the teaching stages, and Orai definitely worked well in Miss Safitri's class. She stated that due to the application, the students can practice their speaking in a fun way without worrying making mistakes. In short, they are able to overcome their fear and nervousness so that they become more confident and fluent in speaking English. Well, if you're interested, you can try to apply Orai in your classroom. Good luck and thank you! See you again in the next episode.
التحية والتعارف. الحوار. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
اسمي علي. ما اسمك؟
اسمي حسن.
كيف حالك؟
بخير والحمد لله. وكيف حالك أنت؟
بخير والحمد لله. من أين أنت؟
أنا من مصر. أنا مصري. ومن أين أنت؟
أنا من إندونيسيا. أنا إندونيسي. أين تسكن؟
أنا أسكن في القاهرة. وأين تسكن أنت؟
أنا أسكن في القاهرة أيضا.
سررت بلقائك.
سررت بلقائك أيضا. المادة: السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
مرحبا.
أهلا.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
مرحبا.
أهلا. اسمي علي. ما اسمك؟ أنا علي. ما اسمك؟
اسمي حسن. اسمي حسن.
اسمي علي. ما اسمك؟ أنا علي. ما اسمك؟
اسمي مريم. اسمي مريم.
كيف حالك؟ كيف حالك؟
بخير والحمد لله. الحمد لله تمام.
كيف حالك؟ كيف حالك؟
بخير والحمد لله. الحمد لله تمام.
من أين أنت؟ من أين أنت؟
أنا من مصر. أنا مصري. أنا من مصر. أنا مصري.
من أين أنت؟ من أين أنت؟
أنا من مصر. أنا مصرية. أنا من مصر. أنا مصرية.
أين تسكن؟ أين تسكن؟
أنا أسكن في القاهرة. أنا أسكن في القاهرة.
أين تسكنين؟ أين تسكنين؟
أنا أسكن في القاهرة. أنا أسكن في القاهرة.
سررت بلقائك.
سررت بلقائك أيضا.
تشرفت بمعرفتك.
تشرفت بمعرفتك أيضا.
سررت بلقائك.
سررت بلقائك أيضا.
تشرفت بمعرفتك.
تشرفت بمعرفتك أيضا.
التدريب: مرحبا. ما اسمك؟ كيف حالك؟ من أين أنت؟ أين تسكن؟ تشرفت بمعرفتك. شكرا على اهتمامكم ونلتقي في الفرصة القادمة.
Ina, wie lange bleibst du hier in Deutschland?
Etwa 16 Monaten.
Erst 16 Monaten? Du sprichst aber sehr gut Deutsch.
Danke. Ich lerne Deutsch, seit ich in Indonesien zur Schule gegangen bin.
Hast du in der Schule Deutsch gelernt?
Ja, wir lernen in der Schule Fremdsprachen.
Sehr interessant.
Hast du auch in der Schule Fremdsprachen gelernt?
Ja, ich habe Französisch gelernt.
Interessant. Jetzt möchte ich genau wissen, wie das Schulsystem in Deutschland eigentlich ist.
Das Schulsystem in Deutschland? Okay, ich erkläre dir darüber. Es gibt in Deutschland eine Schulpflicht. Kinder werden in der Regel mit 6 Jahren eingeschult. Alle Kinder in Deutschland gehen für 12 Jahre in die Schule. Davon 9 Jahre Vollzeitschulpflicht und 3 Jahre Teilzeitschulpflicht. Als ich 6 Jahre alt war, habe ich Grundschule besucht. Ich war sehr froh, weil ich das Schulkind war. Im ersten Schultag begleiten der Vater und die Mutter das Schulkind. Sie gehen zur Schule zusammen. Es gibt im ersten Schultag etwas Besonderes, die Schultüte. Sie ist das Zeichen für den ersten Schultag. Was packt man in Schultüte? Viele Sachen, zum Beispiel Brotdose, Trinkflasche, Mäppchen, Radiergummi, Stift, Heft, Lineal, Spitzer, ein Brief von der Familie, Armbanduhr, Schokolade und Gummibärchen. Ich hatte damals viele neue Freunde. In der Grundschule lernen die Schüler Deutsch, Mathematik, Sachkunde, Heimatkunde, Religion oder Ethik, Sport und Musik. In der Regel besuchen die Kinder 4 Jahre lang eine Grundschule. Aber in Berlin und Brandenburg lernen die Kinder 6 Jahre in der Grundschule. Nach der 4. Klasse gehen die Kinder auf eine weiterführende Schule, nämlich Hauptschule, Realschule, Gymnasium oder Gesamtschule. Die Entscheidungen basieren auf ihren Begabungen, Interessen und Lernergebnissen. Der Unterricht an der Hauptschule ist praxisorientiert und die Schule dauert 5 Jahre. Das heißt, die Hauptschule endet nach der 9. Klasse. Mit dem Hauptschulabschluss können Sie im Handwerk eine Ausbildung machen. In der Zukunft können Sie zum Beispiel als Fleischer, Tischler, Friseur, Bäcker, Verkäufer, Gärtner, Kosmetiker oder Schuhmacher werden. Die Realschule bereitet die Schüler auf einen Übergang in die Berufswelt. Deswegen besteht der Unterricht nicht nur aus Pflichtunterricht, sondern auch Wahlpflichtunterricht im Bereich Wirtschaft, Technik, Gesundheit oder Soziales. Sie lernen hier auch die zweite Fremdsprache. Die Realschule endet nach der 10. Klasse. Mit dem Realschulabschluss können die Schüler fast alle Ausbildungsberufe machen. In der Zukunft können sie zum Beispiel als Bürokaufmann oder Bürokauffrau, Bankkaufmann oder Bankkauffrau, Mechatroniker, Erzieher, Arzthelfer, Zahnarzthelfer oder Elektroniker werden. Ich bin auf das Gymnasium gegangen. Die Schüler lernen auf dem Gymnasium bis zur 12. oder 13. Klasse. Hier lernen sie mehr Fächer und Fremdsprachen als die Schüler, die Hauptschule oder Realschule besuchen. Hier und auch in der Gesamtschule, die ich später erklären will, können die Schüler das Abitur machen. Mit dem Abitur können wir an einer Universität studieren. Außer Hauptschule, Realschule und Gymnasium gibt es in manchen Bundesländern Gesamtschule. Hier sind die 3 Schulen in einem Haus zusammen. Die Vorteile ist, es ist leichter, wenn ein Kind die Schule wechseln will, zum Beispiel von der Hauptschule in die Realschule. Pass mal auf. Ein Schuljahr beginnt im August oder September, immer nach den Sommerferien. Im Herbst fangen die Schule an. In den meisten Schulen fängt die Schule um 8 Uhr an und endet um 14 oder 15 Uhr. In der Ganztagsschule endet der Unterricht um 16 oder 17 Uhr. Es gibt auch besondere Schulen für Kinder mit besonderen Bedürfnissen. Sie lernen in Förderschulen.
Vielen Dank für deine Erklärung, Max. Sehr interessant. Das ist ganz anders wie bei mir.
Gerne, Ina. Wie ist das Schulsystem in eurem Heimatland? Ist das anders wie bei uns in Deutschland? Also, für unsere Party am Samstag habe ich die Einkaufsliste schon gemacht und habe auch sie in unserer Gruppenchat geteilt. Hast du sie schon gesehen?
Ja, hab schon gelesen. Für den Salat kann ich die Zutaten kaufen. Morgen habe ich vor, zum Markt zu gehen.
Schön. Ich kaufe dann die Getränke und Käse für die Pasta. Morgen nach der Vorlesung gehe ich zum Supermarkt. Morgen. Sie wünschen bitte?
Morgen. Ich hätte gern einen Salat und 500 Gramm Tomaten, bitte.
Alles klar. Sonst noch etwas?
Was ist heute im Angebot?
Heute sind Avocados, Erdbeeren und Kirschen im Angebot. Ein Kilo Avocados kostet nur 2 Euro, ein Kilo frische Erdbeeren für 80 Cent und ein Kilo Kirschen für 1 Euro.
Dann nehme ich ein Kilo Avocados und ein Kilo Kirschen, bitte. Haben Sie auch Zwiebeln?
Ja, wie viel brauchen Sie?
2 große Zwiebeln, bitte.
Okay. Noch etwas?
Nein, das ist alles.
Alles klar. Das macht alles 5,20 Euro.
Hier bitte.
Und 80 Cent zurück. Dankeschön.
Danke. Tschüss. Schönen Tag noch.
Tschüss, gleichfalls. Hallo, guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Ich brauche noch eine Tüte, bitte.
Eine Tüte kostet 50 Cent. Das macht alles 8,80 Euro.
Hier, bitte.
Brauchen Sie den Zettel?
Ja, bitte.
Also, hier ist der Zettel und 1,20 Euro für Sie. Danke. Schönen Tag noch.
Danke. Ihnen auch. Und wie kauft man Lebensmittel in eurem Heimatland ein? Ist das anders wie bei uns in Deutschland?
Hello, language teachers. Welcome to Easy and Enjoyable Teaching with Sikil. Now, this episode is about how to improve the students' English speaking skills using a smart application named Orai. Do you have problems in improving your students' speaking skills? No worries, you are not alone. Most language teachers face difficulties in improving their students' speaking skills. Psychological factors such as shyness, fear of mistakes, anxiety, lack of confidence, and lack of motivation are some prominent factors that hinder students from speaking in the classroom. In context of language class, the students become reluctant to practice their speaking skills. Well, the good news is, one of our colleagues, Ms. Safitri Wayuni, an English teacher in East Kalimantan, has a best practice in improving her students' speaking skills. In her case, she uses a smart application called Orai to help improving her students' speaking performance. So the first question will be, what is Orai? Orai is a smart application that can be used to improve the speaking skills since it can assess its users' performance. This application can be downloaded from the Play Store for all smartphones, either Android or Apple operating system based. Next, you might wonder, actually, in what lesson did she use Orai and how to use it in the classroom? Here's the answer. Miss Safitri used Orai for English lesson on self-introduction. And here are 6 teaching steps that she has conducted in her classroom. First, assigning students to download Orai application on their cellular phones. Second, requesting students to practice their speaking skills using Orai, in which they have to talk based on a topic suggested in the application. On this step, students choose the feature Practice. Click the option Give me a topic and then click the option Practice Now. After that, students practice their speaking by reading available sentences on the screen provided by Orai for 2 minutes. Third, students check feedbacks and transcript from Orai. The aspects assessed are speaking pace, fillers, clarity, pausing, and intonation, as well as conciseness. This is the sample image of feedbacks provided by Orai. Here, we have one more sample of feedbacks. Okay, now let's go to the next step. Fourth, giving tasks to students to speak about their own self-introduction on the application. Students choose the feature Practice. Click the option Free, then they introduce themselves for 2 minutes. Fifth, asking again the students to check feedbacks and transcript from Orai. Sixth, or the last steps, students and the teacher discuss about the speaking practices on self-introduction. They also conduct a reflection on how to solve problems that they encounter while doing the practices on the application. That's all the teaching stages, and Orai definitely worked well in Miss Safitri's class. She stated that due to the application, the students can practice their speaking in a fun way without worrying making mistakes. In short, they are able to overcome their fear and nervousness so that they become more confident and fluent in speaking English. Well, if you're interested, you can try to apply Orai in your classroom. Good luck and thank you! See you again in the next episode.
التحية والتعارف. الحوار. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
اسمي علي. ما اسمك؟
اسمي حسن.
كيف حالك؟
بخير والحمد لله. وكيف حالك أنت؟
بخير والحمد لله. من أين أنت؟
أنا من مصر. أنا مصري. ومن أين أنت؟
أنا من إندونيسيا. أنا إندونيسي. أين تسكن؟
أنا أسكن في القاهرة. وأين تسكن أنت؟
أنا أسكن في القاهرة أيضا.
سررت بلقائك.
سررت بلقائك أيضا. المادة. السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
مرحبا.
أهلا.
السلام عليكم.
وعليكم السلام.
مرحبا.
أهلا. اسمي علي. ما اسمك؟ أنا علي. ما اسمك؟
اسمي حسن. اسمي حسن.
اسمي علي. ما اسمك؟ أنا علي. ما اسمك؟
اسمي مريم. اسمي مريم.
كيف حالك؟ كيف حالك؟
بخير والحمد لله. الحمد لله تمام.
كيف حالك؟ كيف حالك؟
بخير والحمد لله. الحمد لله تمام.
من أين أنت؟ من أين أنت؟
أنا من مصر. أنا مصري. أنا من مصر. أنا مصري.
من أين أنت؟ من أين أنت؟
أنا من مصر. أنا مصرية. أنا من مصر. أنا مصرية.
أين تسكن؟ أين تسكن؟
أنا أسكن في القاهرة. أنا أسكن في القاهرة.
أين تسكنين؟ أين تسكنين؟
أنا أسكن في القاهرة. أنا أسكن في القاهرة.
سررت بلقائك.
سررت بلقائك أيضا.
تشرفت بمعرفتك.
تشرفت.
Ladies and gentlemen, we kindly announce that the plenary session 1 will start in a few minutes. Please be seated and be ready. Ladies and gentlemen, now we will start the plenary session 1. The agenda is presentation by Mr. Yuan Bonner and Mr. Russell Stannard. To chair the session, we kindly invite Ms. Tiarma Intan Marpaung from Universitas HKBP Nomensan Pematang Siantar. Ms. Tiarma, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so thank you for the time given to us. And today, now we will start our plenary session. For the first one, it will be from Mr. Yuan Bonner for research title, Virtual and Augmented Reality in Language Education, Practical Ideas for Here and Now. In short, I will read a short bio of Mr. Yuan Bonner. So Mr. Yuan Bonner is an educational technology researcher, programmer, and English language lecturer at Kanda University of International Studies in Japan. He focuses on studying about advancement in the fields of virtual reality, augmented reality, and artificial intelligence, and how these technologies can be used to aid teachers in the development of innovative educational practices. His recent collaborative projects focus on creating language learning activities for existing VR and AR application and developing a number of his own AR applications. He's also an advisor to an Immerse Online, a VR English educational platform for teaching and learning in VR. So for Mr. Yuan Bonner, floor is yours.
Hey, thank you very much, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here, and a special thanks to the organizers for letting me talk about something I'm so passionate about. Let me just share my screen here. Okay, hopefully that's working. Okay, just a moment, please. Okay, looks like it's working. Looks like we're all good to go. Everybody can hear me? We're all good? Yes, excellent. Okay, so again, my name is Ewan Bonner from Kanda University of International Studies. If you're interested in anything from this presentation today, you can find it on my ResearchGate profile after this session. I'll upload it there. So you can find that at the QR code on the screen there, but I'll also show that again at the end of the slideshow. Okay, let's get started. So, right, a little bit of background. First, I am a specialized lecturer for the Global Liberal Arts Department and English Language Institute at Kanda University of International Studies in Chiba, which is just outside Tokyo in Japan. Our university is a communications and foreign language focused university. And what that means is our students pick up a major in 2 languages. One is always English, and the second is one of their choice. For example, Indonesian, Korean, Chinese, Spanish, Portuguese, etc. And of course, I teach classes like English media literacy, reading and writing courses for essays, things like that. I'm also a technology researcher for the Center for Learning and Teaching Innovation. This is a research department at Kanda University where my role is to specialize in researching emerging technologies such as virtual reality, augmented reality, and artificial intelligence. As I mentioned, I'm also a programmer and application developer, which means that if I find a new use or a potential new use for VR or AR in the classroom, but there's no existing application, then it's my role to sort of try and program a prototype and see if we can bring that into the classroom in some way. And as was mentioned in my bio, I'm also an advisor for the VR English teaching company Immerse, which is a company that develops VR solutions for teachers to teach students in virtual reality. Okay, so just a quick glass of water. And let's get started. So today I'm going to start with basically what is virtual reality, what is augmented reality. Then I'll give you a background into a little bit of research, some examples of classroom activities that I've actually performed in my classrooms over the past few years. A look at some of the projects that I'm involved with right now for future potential for augmented reality. And then we'll finish with a brief look at potentially the future for both VR and AR in the years to come. So let's begin. Right, so basically speaking, if we take a look at my little diagram here, we can see that we have visible reality displayed in purple there and digital content displayed in blue there. And the idea is that augmented reality is when you add digital content in front of your eyes into the real world, usually in the form of 3D objects or contextual information relative to the position that you're standing, that kind of thing. So basically, augmented reality is mixing reality and digital content together. And the more digital content you add, the closer and closer you get to virtual reality. Virtual reality being when your entire vision has been completely occupied by digital content. And you can see a little example there, regular old reality, mixed reality with augmented reality, and then virtual reality on the right, where we're not even able to see the real world anymore. So I'll give you some examples here. Okay, so starting, of course, with the visible reality that we all live in and hopefully enjoy. we move on to a good example of very basic augmented reality. Here we go. Pokemon Go, which hopefully most of you know about or have at least heard about, is a game where people walk around using their smartphones, and the smartphone camera projects 3D models into the real world. And that's achieved by placing these pocket monsters around the world at specific GPS locations. The user has to walk to that physical location, and then by holding their camera up, their smartphone camera up and pointing it in a specific direction, they're able to see that content. Of course, as you can see, the Pokemon is not really there in reality. It's only available via the smartphone. So if we start to add more digital content, we get to what are called smart glasses, which a lot of the big companies are currently trying to get ready to bring to market. There are a couple available already. And basically the idea is that instead of holding your smartphone in front of your face to view your apps, you'll hold, well, you won't hold anything. You'll have a pair of glasses on and you'll be able to see your apps, your movies, and all those sorts of things in front of your eyes. So that's another example of augmented reality. And then moving on to much more powerful augmented reality. These 5 people are wearing the Microsoft HoloLens headset. So they are able to physically see with their own eyes this 3D model that is sitting on the desk in their office. And they're able to interact with it with their hands. So the person in the center here has lifted off the top of the building and is exposing the cameras, the water, the air conditioning systems for the other 4 people to see. And of course, if you walked into this room and you were not wearing a Microsoft HoloLens headset, you wouldn't be able to see anything. It would just be 5 people standing around an empty desk. And of course, if you keep adding and adding more and more digital content into the real world, eventually you get to virtual reality. And hopefully you can see that there. In this place, you can't even see the real world anymore. And in this particular application, the users are painting into the air, which is not something that's possible in reality. When they hold out their brush and they move their arms around, the paint sits there physically in the air, doesn't fall to the ground, and it allows them to paint without a canvas. And they can create virtual dioramas, 3D models, and things like that. So basically speaking, augmented reality is the mixing of the real world with 3D content and can be viewed through a smartphone or through a headset. And virtual reality, which needs a headset, is the complete replacement of reality with a virtual world. Okay, so let's take a quick look at what these devices actually look like. Basically, when it comes to virtual reality and for our use as language teachers, there are 2 form factors that we want to look at. We have smartphone headsets, which are the 2 that you see at the top there, the Google Cardboard, which is quite popular, and also the plastic versions of Google Cardboard. These are both fundamentally the same, except that you can see the Google Cardboard there can be quite cheap, as low as I've seen them for $2 US each, which makes them very easy to buy for a whole class set, assuming that your students have access to a smartphone. If you want something a little bit more durable that can last, say, a couple of years, then I'd recommend buying the plastic versions, which are available everywhere, basically. And it's exactly the same thing, except they cost between $15 and maybe $20. These are very limited virtual reality headsets. And what that means is your students are able to hold them up to their face and they're able to turn their heads in 360 degrees, but they're not able to stand up and walk around these environments or interact with them with their hands. It's just for viewing virtual reality content. And at the bottom here, we have the most popular virtual reality headset, which is Facebook's Oculus Quest 2. This is a completely portable, fully interactive headset, which has obviously the face part, which goes over the top of your head, and, 2 hand controllers, which you use to physically interact with your environment. You can walk, you can jump, you can interact and pick up things with no problem. I'll be talking about activities for both of these devices today, but just to give one more example of the benefits of a Oculus Quest device, it also allows for the projection of the VR user's vision onto a tablet or onto a projector in your classroom, meaning that if you have one student in virtual reality and you want the rest of the students to see what they're seeing, you're able to broadcast that to your classroom projector so that everyone can take part and participate in the activity. Of course, they do cost around about $300 each, but all of the activities I'll be showing today only require one headset per classroom. And I do believe that with the continuing passage of time, these headsets will continue to reduce in price. And I do believe that they are worth acquiring for your institution, even if it is just one headset to share amongst your classes. Okay, so when it comes to augmented reality, the barrier for entry price-wise is a little bit lower, as most of older students, of course, not younger students, will have access to a smartphone. And augmented reality is capable on most of the modern smartphones, anything from a iPhone 6S and up or Android 7 and up. And considering that we're now at the iPhone 13 now, that does cover quite a few years going back of these smartphones. Of course, any of the activities that I covered today where each student may be required to have a smartphone, you could always have a few students share a smartphone if not everyone in your class has access to one. In addition, I just wanted to mention that while I will talk a little bit more about smart glasses and augmented reality headsets today, they're still very prohibitively expensive and out of the reach of all but the higher level research projects at the moment. The HoloLens on the bottom right there that you saw earlier is still $3,500 each, but they are getting cheaper. The Nreal Lite, which is the smart glasses that I showed you earlier, is now available for $600, but does need to attach to a powerful smartphone. I see in the next coming years, we'll see a decrease in price, and hopefully we eventually get smart glasses to the same sort of price point as the Oculus Quest 2. But I'll talk about that a little bit later in the future section. Okay, so let's get started on our education aspect of virtual reality and augmented reality, and what are the affordances of VR and AR. Okay, so in regards to virtual reality in education, there are a number of affordances that it brings to education and language learning in particular. One example is accessing unobtainable environments, especially during the pandemic, with a lot of students now unable to travel. There is great opportunity for taking your students virtually to these locations and helping them with their language immersion courses. Mills 2020, in their paper, Virtual Reality Narratives in Foreign Language Pedagogy, was teaching a beginner French course, and they used 360-degree videos. These are videos that are recording in all directions at the same time. And if you place these videos into virtual reality, your students are able to see a video that is in all directions. So Mills used 360-degree videos from different neighborhoods in Paris to document and share the lives of French speakers. And in their paper, they say that for students, it captured a part of Parisian daily culture that often can't be described in words. And that is, of course, the sounds and the atmosphere of actually being in a French-speaking country. VR has also been found to help with improving learner engagement. As you can imagine, bringing new and exciting technology into the class is a fairly easy way to engage with your students. Perong and Mayer in 2018 found that students were happier, more excited, and less bored in class. And this has been backed up by a number of research papers that you can see there over the past few years. In addition, it has been found to help improve interactivity in distance education. Shang Jiang and Jin 2017 outlined the potential role of VR in distance education, focusing on the potential affordances offered by multi-user virtual campuses. And I'll show a little bit more of that later, but the idea, of course, of comparing a Zoom room, much like we're in now, to potentially the affordances of being in a virtual room with a large group of people together, able to use gestures and communicate with each other virtually face-to-face, has a lot of potential for language learning. And finally, it's also been found to aid learners in spatial memorization. So Pollard in 2020, et al. 2020, found that the ability to view content from multiple angles via virtual reality may have contributed to improved memorization scores versus viewing on a regular monitor. And what that means, of course, is the students being able to sort of walk around and look at the content helps ingrain it in their minds a little bit more strongly than, say, a picture on a piece of paper or a YouTube video. So there's also affordances there for helping students remember key facts or key pieces of information. Okay, moving on to augmented reality in education. It has been found to allow for multiple classroom learning strategies, interactive learning, game-based learning, collaborative learning, and experiential learning. And through my projects that I have conducted with my students, they've all been collaborative learning projects, and they've been a really good way to get students producing language and receiving language through these sort of collaborative augmented reality worlds that we create. It's also effective for visual thinking skills, being able to see and interact with a subject matter that might otherwise be impractical to bring to class. This is very similar to unobtainable environments for VR and spatial memorization, allowing a student to see 3D objects that perhaps you're conducting a lesson about virtually. So, for example, if you're in regular education, if you were doing Egyptian history and you wanted to show the pyramids and pharaohs, you could introduce these 3D models into your classroom, and they could physically be on the student's desk, and they look through their smartphone and look at the different angles and are able to look at that content. And it helps with their visual thinking skills. And again, AR, much like VR, helps with student motivation and engagement. A number of papers have been conducted on helping students increase their motivation when compared to non-AR equivalents. And then finally, increasing confidence and interest. Fombona et al. 2017 found evidence that augmented reality increases confidence and the level of commitment and interest in students. So all of these mixed together allows AR and VR to be tools that are equivalent to any new piece of technology you bring into the classroom, including smartphones, YouTube videos. It's able to help achieve these similar goals. Okay, so let's get into some actual activities, just some short demonstrations of some activities that I have conducted with my students in class, starting with virtual reality. First, I'm going to start with the Oculus Quest 2 activities. I've got 2 examples today, and then I'll move on to a Google Cardboard activity that I've also conducted. So pardon me, I'll just get a glass of water. Okay. So there do exist a number of directed virtual reality programs that are aimed at helping students learn VR directly. Like sorry, not learn VR, learn language directly. But there are not many of them. And of course, in our classrooms, it's better to take advantage of a existing application that can be made to work in our courses. For example, National Geographic VR is an excellent application that allows you to travel the world, and you can take your students to a variety of places, and then they can discuss their feelings and their thoughts about those locations afterwards. For more serious topics, Traveling While Black and Anne Frank House VR are 2 existing VR applications that highlight, for example, with Traveling While Black, 1960s racism in the United States. These sort of discussion topics are also made available in virtual reality. And today I'll be focusing on a classroom activity using Tilt Brush, the painting software that you saw before, and also Job Simulator. If you're interested in any of these applications or the activities that I've conducted with them, you can find them in 2 of my papers, Making Virtual Reality Accessible for Language Learning, Applying the VR Application Analysis Framework, which was in the Teaching English with Technology journal, and also Pedagogical Considerations for Successful Implementation of Virtual Reality in the Language Classroom, which was in a book, New Technological Applications for Foreign and Second Language Learning and Teaching. Again, I'll move on here, but if you're interested in those titles, they're available on my ResearchGate profile. Or in this slideshow afterwards. Okay, so let's get into our first activity here. So in my class, I had access to a single virtual reality Oculus Quest headset. And we quickly saw the advantages of using tilt brush in our reading and writing classes. So to give one single activity here using tilt brush, our students were analyzing fables for English European culture. And in the groups, we wanted them to show that they understood the fable that was written for them in the reading class. So we divided the class up into small groups of students. And while each group was tasked with a part of the fable, and they decided, okay, what are we going to create as a physical three-dimensional diorama to show that we understood this part of the fable? So they would collaborate together, discuss, draw pictures, work together in English, and then one of the students would jump into virtual reality and start painting the physical diorama. And of course, the students would switch users, and the students who are not using VR would watch on the tablet what the student is doing and offer advice and instructions on what to do. And then at the end of the class, end of the activity, we had each of the students in virtual reality provide a tour of their diorama to the rest of the class by, again, putting that student's virtual reality vision up onto the projector, and then they would walk around their 3D creations and talk about how it connected to the fable and why they included certain aspects of the, of the diorama. Okay. A second activity that we conducted was also using the Oculus Quest was Job Simulator. This Job Simulator is kind of a comedic or comedy-focused job simulating VR application, which includes a kitchen environment, an office, a mechanics workshop, and even a convenience store. And when we saw this application, we thought that this was a great idea to bring into our procedural text unit for another reading and writing class that we had. Our university is a language-focused university, so we don't have access to a kitchen for our students to practice writing and then performing recipes that they might practice in class as a part of the procedural text unit. So VR seemed like a good solution to bringing the kitchen into the classroom virtually. So we had the students go into 5 groups, and we asked each of them to create a recipe using the ingredients that were made available within the virtual reality kitchen. You can see on the floor and in the refrigerator, all of those items there. And after they completed their recipe, in English, of course, I asked the group that I thought had created the most comprehensive and best instructions to leave the classroom. And outside of the classroom, I had a student in virtual reality who was in this kitchen environment, and we were broadcasting their vision into the classroom for the other students to see. So we couldn't hear the student outside, but we could see what they were seeing. And this activity worked by having the winning group read out their instructions to the chef, and then the chef would start preparing the dish. Inside the classroom, the students could not hear the instructions, but they could see what the kitchen chef was doing. And we asked the students in the classroom to try and transcribe and write down what they saw in English and try to recreate the recipe based purely on what they were seeing the chef create. At the end of the activity, of course, we brought the students back into the classroom, and then we compared the various recreation recipes to the original, and then talked about the grammatical and vocabulary differences that we saw there. So that was a really good use of VR in allowing us to access an unobtainable environment, because we simply didn't have a place for our students to cook on campus. And of course, there's also the aspect of safety. You can use knives and ovens and grills in virtual reality without a worry about hurting yourself or having to train students in how to safely use these tools. Okay. So that's it for the Oculus Quest activities. Of course, if you want any more, I have plenty of those in those papers that I mentioned earlier. For Google Cardboard, these activities are more directed at having your entire class use a smartphone plus Google Cardboard and inserting their smartphone into the device. And then they're able to, as I said before, look around their environment in a 360-degree video, or some other applications as well sometimes. Anyway, I believe that this is an excellent tour for empathy training and sort of language immersion. So content and language integrated learning classes, or CLIL, if you are teaching courses in English, but not necessarily about English, this is also a very powerful tool. In regards to finding YouTube videos that are appropriate for your specific lessons, Steve Bambury, which is a VR and education enthusiast, has collated an incredible list of playlists. So he has a vast number of playlists on YouTube that you're able to access, covering a vast variety of topics. We have religious studies, 38 videos, social studies, business studies, media studies, literacy, history, art and design, animals, physics. There's a video for every course that you can imagine here. And the way that they were used on our campus, sorry, just to move on, I had two of my research collaborators, Erin Fraser and Jenny Roloff-Rothman, who were teaching a global citizenship course, which was a CLIL course. And in this course, they introduced students to discussion topics using virtual reality. So they were able to immerse their students into these topics and provide empathy training for the different units in this global citizenship course. So as an example there, during the world religions unit, before they discussed the different aspects of each religion, they watched the YouTube video Pilgrimage, a 21st century journey through Mecca and Medina, which provided a walking tour from the first person perspective of Mecca and Medina. And then afterwards, the students discussed, how did they feel about that? Did it change their perspectives on Islam and things like that? Then with the global issues unit, they also watched a 360-degree video of the Syrian war, and they were able to see actual live 360 footage of the destruction of some of the cities and the journey of some refugees into Europe. Okay, so that's it for just a few samples of what virtual reality can bring to your classroom. Now I'd just like to move on to augmented reality. So in regards to augmented reality, the activities that I mentioned today all involve just your smartphone, if I can move that there. You don't need any of those smart glasses or headsets that I've mentioned before. But before I begin, I wanted to mention that the smartphone augmented reality is a constantly shifting medium. And what that means is if you have read any papers about augmented reality for language learning that are more than a couple of years old, they may be out of date. Applications such as Wikitude, Orasma, HP Reveal, Blipper, and Layer that you might have heard of have mostly ended their free access and have shifted over to a business-facing or education-facing model and are charging money for access to these applications. In fact, I might be wrong, but if I remember correctly, Blipper used to be free and now is around $150 a month. So you can imagine how that's changed to more of a business-facing application. So today I want to introduce you to a few more free applications that I've found. We'll be talking about Mark and WorldBrush today, but there are also a couple more which have free access or limited free access, where you could use them for free for one activity, but using them for a second activity would require you to start subscribing. And those are Arise, RLupa, and Adobe Aero there. Okay, so what kind of activities can you do collaboratively with augmented reality, as I mentioned before? Two of the great ones today that I want to talk about are Mark again and WorldBrush. And what I found is, got a big yellow line that has appeared there. I don't know why. Shareable AR content activities via smartphone, right. And what these applications allow you to do is for the teacher or the student to generate their own augmented reality content and enhance engagement in classroom activities and get students collaborating together on creating these sort of activities, basically. So what that means is, while you may have seen that through an augmented reality smartphone like Pokemon Go, you can see 3D things that already exist, your students can, with these applications, paint virtually onto walls, stick photos and text onto walls at specific locations around your campus or around your school. And then other students can come to those locations and, using these applications, view that content, and which of course opens up a whole range of classroom activities that you can do. So let's take a look at Mark. Mark has a couple of features that are useful for language learning. Painting virtual pictures on floors and walls around your classroom or around your school, leaving text messages stuck to various places. You can also upload photos, and you can tag those locations and share them privately with only your class, or you can make them public for any student to access. For an example of some student activities, I conducted a cross-year activity where I had my second-year students create a self-access campus tour for the first-year students. So in my second-year class, the students talked to each other and negotiated what are the most important parts of our campus and what kind of information do you wish you had access to when you first started at the university. Then they physically went to those locations and they created information for those locations to provide a tour. They pasted information about the opening hours of the cafeteria. They painted sort of murals and interesting lines directing them to different locations around the campus. And they were able to post photos of parties that have been held at this location or food that has been provided at the cafeteria, things like that. So this was another way for the students to interact with other classes by having one class focused on creation and another class focused on listening and viewing that content by walking around campus. Another activity that we also conducted was enhancing virtual poster presentations. So your students often in your class might practice presentation skills by creating a poster and then standing in front of that poster and giving mini presentations to other students that would visit them. With the AR app, we were able to enhance these presentations by sort of expanding beyond the poster, placing additional pictures around, creating murals and art, just sort of liven up the poster to make it a little bit more interesting and take up virtual space without taking up physical space. Because of course, you can have multiple virtual content that exists in the same location without being on top of each other. If one student is looking at your content, they don't see other students' content. So you can sort of take up more of the classroom without running into other students' virtual content. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so that's Mark, which I highly encourage you to get a hold of. It's free and it's available on Android and on iPhone. Okay, the second application I'd like to cover is WorldBrush. WorldBrush is very similar to TiltBrush, the virtual reality software, but it's a little bit more simple. And instead of painting in a black void, you're painting in the real world. So you're able to create 3D art that sits in the middle of the air, not stuck to a wall like with Mark. And it's opened up a couple of different activities that we've been able to use. One quick reminder, though, it's only available on iOS, which means iPhones or iPads. I don't think it's available on Android, unfortunately. So again, you could do the previous VR activity with the fables. That's perfectly possible in WorldBrush. But a different activity that I'd like to talk about briefly is a jigsaw activity, where you have your students take part in creating a vocabulary-focused treasure hunt for other students to take part in. And each AR location around your classroom or your building or your school, it contains a piece of augmented reality art that you paint into the world. And that art would contain a hint for the vocabulary that they're looking for, and also a hint for where to find the next piece of augmented reality art around the classroom, building, or campus. So altogether, the students would walk around and create this art, and then they would be able to come back to class, and other students, oops, sorry, if someone could not paint on top of my presentation, that would be appreciated. Anyway, so the other students would then take those tours and fill in the vocabulary for what those puzzles are. As you can see, of course, that's not a uniquely augmented reality activity. There have been plenty of jigsaw and treasure hunt activities conducted using just paper stuck around campus as well. So it's just sort of an AR twist on that. Okay, so I've only got a few minutes left, but I'd like to, actually, is it possible to remove that, that paint? Let me check. Annotate. Can we turn that off? Erase. Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away. Thank you. There we go. Okay. Sorry. Let me continue. Okay. So what I'd like to show you is a couple of the augmented reality projects that I'm currently involved in and programming myself, just to give you a glimpse into some more of the capabilities of augmented reality in the future. Starting, whoops, I can't move anymore. Hang on. Back to mouse. There we go. Starting with my own language education focused AR app. And this is very similar to Mark. It allows my students to paste pictures and paint onto surfaces, but it's more education focused. And what that means is, in addition to putting photos and pictures onto the walls around the classroom and campus, they can also add slideshows and websites, YouTube videos, and 3D objects into the space. So it allows students to create like virtual dioramas, virtual presentation spaces where at a later date, somebody else can come in and watch a YouTube video and see a slideshow connected to a specific location on campus. Talking about like buttons and comment boxes, our students can also walk into a classroom and play, sorry, not a classroom, one more time. They can walk into a practice space. Our campus has many different practice spaces with like presentation practice, reading, writing practice, and they can leave a comment box in that space virtually so that other students can come in and see what feedback students have provided about that space. So it's just a sort of an easy way. All you need is just your smartphone, walk into that space, turn on the application, and you can see, oh, there's a comment board here. Great. I'll read what other students thought about the presentation practice space. Okay, another application of augmented reality is peer-sourced reviews. Now, if you're like me, your reading and writing classes may have a large number of graded readers available for your students to select by themselves. The problem is we often have too many graded readers to choose from, and the students often don't know which book is good, which book is not suitable for them. So in this application, I decided to create an app that recognizes the front cover of these graded readers and allows students to leave star ratings and book reviews on the front cover. So if a student is very quickly looking through a large number of graded readers, they're able to see instantly what other students think about these books. So you can see there, 3 stars, 4 stars out of 5. And then if they touch the book itself, they'll see detailed book reviews written by other students. This way, you're getting peer-sourced feedback, not just from teachers, but from other students directly. This book's glossary isn't very good. I needed to use a dictionary, or this book has not enough pictures to help illustrate difficult ideas. Those kind of comments you can see instantly via an augmented reality app that I'm developing. Again, hopefully both these applications will be available publicly, but again, I'm just a single person programmer, so it may take a while for them to be released. Okay, I've only got a couple of minutes left, so let me move on to just one more really quickly. Smart glasses are, again, they're not available yet, but they will be available potentially soon. And there's one really amazing affordance that smart glasses can potentially bring is, of course, live subtitles for your students. So you can imagine in a couple of years from now, again, I apologize for the quality of these images. It's an early prototype that I'm creating. The student can see subtitles in front of their eyes of what other people are saying. And those subtitles can be in the target language and translated into their own language to assist them in understanding conversations. And in addition to that, you can also take that information, take that written subtitles and analyze them live and provide students with a backlog, a chat history of what you have already talked about, and analyze the most difficult words heard and present the student right in front of their vision with dictionary definitions of the most difficult words heard. Students can also at the end understand, I heard a lot of the top 2,000 level English words today rather than just 1,000 level English words. So that meant that today's conversation was a little bit more difficult than previous conversations. Hopefully that makes sense. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture great examples with these screenshots, but hopefully you can understand some of the ideas there. Okay, I've only got 1 minute left, so I'll very quickly talk about the big companies. We've got Zoom and Facebook collaborating on adding virtual reality to Zoom, and you can expect the opportunity for your distance language students to be able to, instead of jumping into breakout rooms, to jump into a virtual reality room to interact with each other just as seamlessly as we've seen on Zoom. And am I out of time, or am I okay a little bit more?
Sorry, dear sir, but your time is almost over because we have to continue to the next speaker, please.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much, everyone. That's pretty much it for today. Thank you, and look forward to talking to you in the Q&A session.
So thank you, Mr. Yuan Bonner. What a very insightful presentation, and it brings out a lot of insight for us as educators and as teachers. Now we come up for the next speaker, but before it, I just want to suggest for those listener or participants who wants to ask questions deals with the material of Mr. Yuan Bonner or for the material with Mr. Russell Steiner later, you can write your questions on the chat box. And later on, the committee will choose the questions to be asked for the speaker later on. So don't forget to write your questions on the chat box. Thank you. Now we come up with the second speakers of our plenary session today. It is from Mr. Russell Steiner with entitled Teacher Training, Key Technologies that are really impacting on teaching and learning. But before it, I would like to read a short bio of Mr. Russell Steiner. Mr. Russell Steiner is a multi-award winning educational technologist and founder of teachertrainingvideo.com. He got awards from the British Council Eltons, the Times Higher, and the University of Westminster for his work in the use of ICT in education. Mr. Russell Steiner, especially known for his work in the use of ICT in education. Previously, he is a principal education technologist at the University of Warwick and the University of Westminster. He is a consultant on educational technology at King's College London. He's also an associate trainer at Nile. Now, he also has more than 60,000 subscribers on his YouTube. Maybe for for participants can check it later for his YouTube. Now, we would like to please Mr. Russell Steiner. The floor is yours.
Lovely, and thank you very much. And Ewan, thank you for that great presentation you just done. I really enjoyed that. Lots of lovely ideas and really nice pace. So well done. Really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Hopefully you've got a chat window that you can chat to me, and I want you to just do a couple of things for me so I can get to know you before we get started today. In the chat window, can you just tell me where you are sitting at the moment? Some of you will be, I'm not sure exactly where you are. I'm guessing some people are online, some I'm not exactly sure of the situation. So are you in the kitchen, in the front room, in the conference hall, in the school, in the university, sitting on the balcony, sitting in the garden? In the chat window, just tell me where you are. So we got people in the couch. We got people in their living rooms. We got people in their offices. We got people at home in the living room. Anyone sitting on the balcony? Anyone got a nice view? Someone's in their workstation. Someone's at school. Computer lab. Living room is very popular this morning. We got lots of people in their living rooms. A few people in their dining areas. Amazing. Right. Okay. It's always amazing where people are when you're doing an online session because often it's not conducive to language teaching. Second question I'm going to now ask you is, can you just name for me 2 things that you can see in front of you? Okay, so I'm going to say I've got lots of lights because I'm in my studio. I've got a studio and I've got a huge microphone in front of me as well. Can you just name 2 things? Has anyone got a nice view, or is anyone seeing anything really nice out of their window? Some of you are seeing Mr. Russell Stannard. We've got a wooden bench and a tumbler. We've got a laptop. We've got someone can see their friend, I think they said there. We got someone's going to see some trees. At least we got a little bit of nature. Wonderful, great. Computers, drink. Someone's got a drink in front of them. Good idea. I've got a cup of coffee with me as well. Don't forget, it's 4 o'clock in the morning in England. Okay, I had to get up in the middle of the night to do this presentation. Hand sanitizer. That's very good. Very contemporary at this present moment. Okay, wonderful. Right. Okay, good. Black coffee. Yes, we all need it. Lovely. Okay, lovely. Right. Lovely to meet you all. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to make this a really hands-on session. We're going to see how it's going to work. I'm going to try to make it. I'm going to focus on 2 key technologies that are really impacting on teaching and learning. So whereas Ewan's talking about the future, I'm going to talk about what's actually perhaps what's being used now. I have a YouTube channel, 65,000 subscribers, and a website that's really popular. I make videos that show teachers how to use technology and what in language teaching. And I'm going to show you some of the tools that are really popular. And I'm going to go at completely different levels. So we're going to start with something really easy and a quick little website with lots of apps and that I use a lot in my classes. And we're going to do some examples. And then I'm going to shift right over to a much more sophisticated tool that can do lots of different things for your students. And hopefully that way we're going to cover all different ground from primary school to middle school to high school teaching. Okay. And I'm going to have a special handout for you at the end as well that you can just email me. It will automatically come to you where I give you videos to help you do all these things. So we're going to start by clicking on share screen. And I'm going to quickly open up my screen onto the computer. And just for a minute, I'm going to show you, first of all, let me minimize this to make this nice and small as well. I'm going to show you the technology that in the last year has had the most reaction from my teachers. This technology, and you can even see on the screen, look how many people are using this technology. It is going absolutely crazy. It's become one of the most popular quick technologies for checking understanding, for formative assessment, if you're teaching online on the internet. And one of the reasons it's so popular is if we click on create activity, is you've got a total of 30 odd games on one site. And that is why people love it, because so many games to play. And if I click on my activities, then you can see here just how many games and activities. And I'm just going to give you a taster of this website and just show you what fun it is and how easy it is to make that activities. And you can use this technology for free. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick activity with you, and I'm going to do a really simple one. I'm just going to make sure that you can hear the sound a minute. So let me just make sure that I've got the sound shared. So this is great if you want to do a quick checking of understanding. I've made a super quick activity for you. Okay, really simple one, just to demonstrate one game. And all you have to do in this game is to put the letters, the adverbs in order from the most frequent to the least frequent. So maybe you've done a lesson on adverbs and you want to quickly check that the students are following you. This is very much about formative assessment, checking understanding. Okay, so you drag always, and then very often, and then often, and then we've got sometimes, then we've got occasionally, and then we've got rarely, then we've got very rarely, and then we've got never. Okay? And I just submit that. and then it will give me immediate feedback on that activity. Now, I'm going to just quickly show you how I made that activity. Okay, even gives me a score. If I click on how I made that activity, look at this. I just wrote the words. I literally just wrote the words, and it will create the game for me immediately that I can play with my students. Now, I'm going to play this game with you. I'm going to click on the share button. I'm going to click on set assignment, click on start. I'm going to copy that link, and I'm going to stop sharing. And in the chat window, I'm going to share the link, and I want you to click on the link and do this activity. All right. So let me just share that, make sure it's going to everybody. So just going to put that in there. Can you just click on that link and do that activity? And then when you finish in the chat window, can you write done so that I know that you've done that activity? Okay. And while you're doing that activity, I'll just talk in the background. WordWall, when I first made a video about WordWall, hundreds of teachers immediately emailed me. I have a big following. I have a newsletter with 15,000 people and the YouTube channel with 65,000 people. And people were emailing me, Russell, this is amazing. You can do so many games and so many activities. It really is a lovely technology for quickly checking understanding. You can make the activities very quickly, and then you can share them with the students and they can do them. So if you're teaching online, this is really nice because it's just a quick way of checking understanding, okay? Thank you for writing in the window when you're done, okay? Please, if you can just write in the window when you're done so that I know, because I want to move on and do another activity and just show you a couple more, okay? And I'm going to show you just how easy it is to use this technology, okay? Now, you can make 5 games for free. You don't have to pay for this if you just want to use the basic product. 5 games for free, but you can edit those games and use them again and again and again. So you can make 5 games, but you can change them and use them in level 1 and then level 5, etc. So it's really nice. It's very flexible. And okay, so some people have got problems with slow internet. I'm sorry if that's the case. I'm really sorry about that. Okay. That might happen today when some of you are trying to play this game, because we're doing a Zoom session, and if you haven't got a very quick internet connection, it could be a problem. I can see that a lot of you have done that. You can, of course, use this for homework as well, okay? So you can do this type of activity for homework. So if you've done a lesson and then perhaps for homework, you want to check understanding, the students can just click on the link and do the activities for homework. Obviously, we're doing it in a live session, and that does make it a little bit more difficult sometimes because you're using Zoom and I've got the webcam on, and then on top of that, we are doing the activity. But it is a really nice website. I'm going to just show you a couple more activities using it, okay? Just to give you an idea. About 10,000 people watched my video on WordWall, the first one I made, almost within the first couple of days. It was sort of about a week. It was that popular and I had that much reaction to it. I'm going to show you another activity, okay? So what I'm just going to do is just going to quickly jump over onto this on screen. So this is just to make this a bit more fun, okay? So just trying to, lovely. So I'm going to do another screen share. I'm going to zoom off to Google Earth, okay? And we're on Google Earth now. So one second, I'm just trying to get my Google Earth open on the screen. Let's see if I can do it. If it might be a bit slow, but let's just see if I can get it going. Okay, I'll come back to the Google Earth in a minute. I'm just going to come back onto WordWall and just come back to that activity. And if I click on my results, then I can see that 50 of you have done that game so far. And I can click here and I can see exactly what questions you got right or what questions you got wrong. So I can see where I need maybe to go back and do it activity again. Obviously, I was asking you to do that very quickly. So you can see how simple this is, how simple it is to set up a game, get the students to check. I'm going to show you one more. So let's have another look at another activity. I'm going to click on create activity and we'll just do a simple one here. We're going to do unjumble. And I'm just going to write some sentences about me. So I'm going to say Russell likes Chelsea. Okay, so my favorite football club is Chelsea Football Club, and I was going to show you Chelsea Football Club on Google Earth. Yeah, Chelsea is a football club in London. I'm going to write another sentence about me. He speaks Spanish, comma, French, and some Polish. Okay, and then I'm going to write another sentence about me. He lived in Spain for 11 years. Okay, now I can do more sentences. I'm just going to do 3 because I just want to demonstrate this very quickly. I'm going to click on done, and the activity hopefully will be ready. Now I'm going to play this activity so you can see what you have to do. And in this one, you just have to put the sentences in order. So it's going to be Russell likes Chelsea. Now it's going to move on to the next sentence. What I like about this, so he speaks Spanish, French, and some Polish. Okay, so it's a word order game. So you might have told a story, or you might have watched a video, or you might have done a reading. And now you want the students to see if they understand. Okay, so he lived in Spain for 11 years. Okay, and again, it checks it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on share, and I'm going to set assignment, set start, and I'm going to copy that link and share this activity with you, just like I did the last one, okay? And let's just see. Yeah, London is blue. That's lovely to hear. Someone there's a Chelsea supporter. That's what I like to hear. A few Chelsea supporters in the room with me. Wonderful. Okay, so can I get you all, and just paste that link in, can I get you all to do that activity, okay? Can you just do the activity where you put the new activity that I've just put in there, where you've got to put the sentences in order? So, Word Wall is really good for creating quick activities to check understanding. It's not a particularly sophisticated tool. It's not sophisticated like some of the tools that Ewan was showing us earlier. But it's certainly a tool that we can use when we're teaching online for checking understanding, but also often for homework. And the variety, 36 games. There's firing games and aeroplane games and organizing groups and wheels and roulette type games. There are many types of games that you can do with this one technology, and you can use 5 for free. And if you want, you can edit those games and use them with different classes. So yes, you can only make 5 for free, but you can use them again and again and again. And it really is a lovely technology for kind of getting the students to just to check their understanding and make sure that they are following what you're doing. I'm just going to put in my other internet connection while you're doing that activity, because I think this one's going to make my system run a little bit faster. That should do it. Good. Okay, lovely. Right. So lovely. Good. So I can see that quite a few of you have done that activity. I'm just going to give you another couple of minutes before I jump out of that. I'm just going to have a look. So lots of you writing in the window. Everyone's okay that you've done that activity. So that's Word Wall. I've got a video for you at the end that will show you how to use Word Wall. I've just noticed now that put my computer faster internet connection in. The camera's gone a bit blurred. I'm not quite sure why. Okay, lovely. Yeah. Really engaging, really quick, really fast, lots of fun, lots of activities, 36 different games. If I just quickly jump back to it, okay, just as a final thing before I move on to the other technology I want to show you. And, if I click on my results here, I just want to show you how much I'm using this. So I can see 36 of you now have done that activity. Okay, and 66 of you did the last activity. Sometimes when I'm doing teacher training sessions, I'm working with like hundreds of people. Like, look at this one here, 234 people did that activity. Or I've done a few with 400 or 500, 148 people did that activity. Okay, so it really does work. And look how much I'm using it. As I said, when I first highlighted this technology on my website, then it really did generate absolutely masses of interest for me. And as I said, if you click on create activity, it's so easy to make that activities. Just write the words, click on the button. Just write the words, click on the button, and you're done. Okay, so that's the first one I wanted to show you. As I said, we're looking at key technologies that are impacting on teaching and learning. And I'd really suggest that you look into that technology because it really is worth looking at, particularly if you're teaching and you teaching online and you want to quickly check understanding. Right, let's move on to a second technology, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a presentation for you and then move straight into it. I want to make these sessions kind of as interactive as I possibly can. And this technology that I'm going to show is really interesting. It's probably the technology that I'm most interested in. And I'm just going to kind of jump on it here. The technology I'm going to show you now can be used online, or it can be used in a class situation if you're doing blended learning. I run a lot of teacher training programs. I've been teacher training for about 20 years in the area of technology. And when we teach teachers about the teaching online, we focus first of all on the platform. So if you're teaching online, you need a platform. You need something like Moodle or Edmodo or Schoology or Blackboard or Brightspace. There are many of them. You need some kind of platform or Google Classroom where you can organize your students. And then you need a webinar tool for doing the live sessions. But there is another technology, a third technology that is really essential that all teachers know how to use in terms of organizing online learning, but also really, 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 really useful when you're teaching in a blended learning context. And on my courses, I call this the third man, the third key tool. There's one outstanding technology that is everywhere. And I'm going to try to demonstrate this technology. It's called screen capture technology or screencast technology. And many of you will know this technology. Many of you will have seen this technology, but maybe not experienced it. And I'm going to try now live to show you why this technology is so powerful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a new share. I'm going to jump over back to our lovely word wall, but I'm going to jump over to a different technology now. So I'm just going to click let me just clean up my screen a little bit just to give me a bit of room. I'm going to jump over and we're going to use a technology called completely free this, okay, Screencast-O-Matic. And I'm going to try and do something live for you just to show you how useful this technology is, okay? So hopefully it's going to come up on the screen. There it is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this button here, record for free. So I'm just going to click on that button and it's going to open up a recorder. And this recorder allows me to record anything that I have got on the screen of my computer. Okay, let me just make sure that you're actually seeing that. So I'm going to click on new share. Let me just roll over that and just make sure that you are actually seeing what I'm showing you. Yes, hopefully you are. So there it is. There's this screen. I've just clicked on launch new recorder and it's opened up this recorder. And I'm going to minimize the page, all right? And what we do is I'm going to record myself doing this PowerPoint presentation, okay? So I'm going to move the screen here. Just move it out. Okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just click on this button here and I'm going to record myself talking over this PowerPoint presentation. Now, I could be talking over a list of vocabulary. I could be talking over a grammar lesson. I could be talking over a student's work. I could be talking over a picture or a graph. I could be modeling language. I could do this for anything, but I just want to demonstrate the technology. So I'm going to click here. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to talk a little bit about the most important technologies when we're teaching online. There are 3 tools you need to know. First, how to use a platform like Moodle or Edmodo or Brightspace or Blackboard. You also need to use a webinar tool like Microsoft Teams or Zoom or WebEx. But you also need to learn to use screen capture, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I've just done a really quick video. Okay, so I'm going to click on done because I've done that video. I'm going to save it. Now that video is actually ready. That is it. That video is there. It took me just a few seconds. Now I'm going to play that video so that you can hear it. Let's just check that it's working. Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to talk a little bit about the most important technologies when we're teaching online. There are three. Okay, that's working perfect. Now watch this. I'm going to just play. I'm going to send that video to you so that you can listen to it. I'm going to click on upload to YouTube. And I'm going to now click on, just going to give it a title. I'm just going to call it Video from Russell. Okay, and I'm going to upload that onto YouTube. Now, I don't have to upload it onto YouTube. I'm going to do this so that you can listen to it. But I could, for example, have put that video on my computer. I could have put that video on Dropbox. I could have put that video in my Google Drive. I can literally share that video anywhere. I can make a video in just a few seconds. And that video could have been anything. And in a minute, I'm going to show you some of the ways this is being used in teaching and learning. So I'm going to copy that link. I'm going to click on stop share, and I'm just going to paste that link into the window, chat window. And can you just tell me, guys, if you click on that link, can you play the video? You should be able to play that video. You just see that I made a video for you in just a few seconds. Now, that could have been a grammar lesson. That could have been some vocabulary. That could have been anything. I should be able to just click on the link, guys, and tell me whether that video is working. Okay. Wow. Okay. So literally straight away, I can make video content. So why is that technology so popular? Well, because of course, that's how the flipped classroom's being done. That's how Jonathan Bergman and Aaron Sams made their videos for the flipped classroom. I can make these videos just like at the click of a button, super quick, and the technology is free and there's no limit. You can use this technology as much as you like. Now, I fell in love with this technology. Okay, so I started working with this technology many years ago, and I realized I could use this for feedback. I could open my students' work on the screen. I could turn on the screen capture technology and record myself giving feedback to the student and send them a video. And I'm going to show you some examples now of how I can use this for giving feedback, or I could use this for going over some vocabulary as well. Let's just look at a few examples and then I'll do some more demonstrations. So I'm going to do a screen share again, and this time I'm going to jump over to the advanced features and I'm going to play you some videos. I've got some videos to share with you, and I want to play this example for you, okay? Just to show you the sort of things that you can do with this. So listen to this. This is a Chinese student of mine. Okay, I've read her work. I've marked the things that are incorrect. And then I've turned on the screen capture technology. Remember, it's free, and recorded myself correcting this student's work. Her name's Lou, and I send her the video. So let me just play this to you.
Hi Lou, just want to go through some of the things in your essay here. My name is Yue Hualu. I am Chinese, but of the moment. Now you've got the wrong preposition there, so we need to change that if you can. Here you said at the weekends, but can you look at the spelling of that word, because you've spelt that word incorrectly. Now, if we look at this sentence, when I first come to England, now I didn't speak English. Now, this is in the past, and you've used the present simple here. So we need to change that to use a past verb. Here,
okay, so you can see that I could use that to give feedback to my students. So simple. Just open their work on the screen, mark the things, turn on the video. Let's think of another example. Let me do another live example. Let's imagine that I was teaching you English. Okay, let me see if I can do this for you. I'm going to click on screen capture, and we're going to come back to the basics. I'm going to jump back over to my PowerPoint slide just for a quick second. And let's imagine that, and I'll do this just right at the end. Let's imagine that we're doing a lesson today, and in the lesson, there's been some problems with the vocabulary. Okay, and you've been saying a few words wrong, like, for example, photograph. Okay, and then photography. Okay, I'll just do a few. Photography, and maybe we'll do one more. We do accommodation. So I've done a lesson with you today. You've been in my class, and there's been 3 or 4 words that you're not pronouncing correctly, and I want to make a quick video for the whole class to explain to them what they need to do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to click on new share. I'm going to jump over to my screen, okay, and just share my screen with you, and I'm going to just jump over now and open up again the recorder. So we're going to open the recorder up. So we're going to click on done because we're going to do another recording. So we're going to open up that recorder again, this one here. All we need to do is click on this button here, launch free recorder, and that will open up the recorder onto the screen. So just give it a couple of seconds while it launches. 1 minute. Okay, I don't know why it's done that. I shouldn't need to launch it again. It should have already been there, but it's gonna appear in a few seconds anyway. There it is. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to minimize that so that I am going to just make this little video for you guys. So you're all in my class, and there's been some problems in today's lesson, a few things I want to go through, and I'm going to do a little video for you. Hi guys, just want to go through a few words from today's lesson that you didn't get right. First word, photograph. Stress is on the first syllable, photograph. Second word, photography. Don't forget, with photography, the stress moves to the second syllable. Next word, accommodation. The stress is on the fourth syllable. Don't forget, guys, double C, double M. Last word, fragile. Don't forget, stress is on the first word and it's aisle, fragile. Okay, guys, well done. Click on the button there. I click on done. That video, save it, is immediately ready. Let's just check it's working. Let's just make sure. So I'm just going to play that. Hi guys, just want to go through a few words from today's lesson. Okay, instantly I can make a video, just one video for the whole class, all of their vocabulary problems. I'm going to put this on YouTube for you. So I'm going to click on this button here. We're going to put this up on. So I'm just going to give it a title. Okay, and we'll call this vocabulary. When you have a Gmail account, you have a YouTube channel. It's free. So you can connect this technology to your YouTube channel and save your videos on YouTube. If you do that, set the video as unlisted. Unlisted means that nobody can find the video without the link. You need the link. I'm going to click on publish. Okay. There's been lots and lots of research into this idea. Okay. It's become very, very popular, particularly in teaching in secondary schools and in universities. I've been using this idea since I first suggested the idea, which was 16 years ago. So it's not a new idea, okay? But it's taken a long time for teachers to realize. I'm going to click on stop share, and I'm going to share that link into the window again. And I'm hoping, guys, that you will be able to play my super feedback to you, correcting the vocabulary. So can you click on that link and tell me, can you listen to that video where you see me going through the vocabulary? So you can give feedback on, you could do grammar videos, you could do vocabulary videos, you could do instructions, show them how to use a website, show them how to log into something, how to work with Quizlet, how to use WordWall. Okay, just really quickly, I can make videos. You think about all of the videos that you see on YouTube, how to do this. How do you think they make them? They're using screencast technology. Okay, there are many, many, many technologies that are screencast technologies. Camtasia, Screencast-O-Matic, Screen Toaster, Movavi. There are many of them. The one that I like, okay, is Screencast-O-Matic because it's free. You can make a video for up to 15 minutes. Now, I even get my students to make videos. Let me show you some more examples. So yes, the teacher can use it, but why not get the students to do it? They can record themselves speaking. They can do things. They can talk over PowerPoint. They can describe pictures. They can talk over a map. They can talk over a table or some information in a chart. Super easy to do. The technology is free. Students can use it. Teachers can use it. Let me just give you a couple more examples. So if I click here again, and we're going to do another screen share, I'm going to show you some other examples of things that I've done. Look at this one here, where one of my students is talking. So this is where I got my student to use this technology to record themselves speaking. And they are doing a presentation. Listen, this is a Chinese student and she's preparing for IELTS.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to talking about security and privacy of electronic business. I'm Michelle. And if you have any question, please keep it until the end of my presentation. Thank you. My presentation can divide it into 2 parts.
Okay, absolutely brilliant. I can just do this really simply. So I can do feedback, I can do vocabulary, I could do a little grammar lesson. One final example, I'm just going to show you how I do this for grammar. Listen to this one here. So I've got like a mini grammar lesson. So I was in the lesson. Some of the students had a problem with the grammar. I made a quick video and I sent the video to the whole class. So make it really quickly. Watch this.
Okay, just something I've noticed today from your lessons and from your essays is that you're getting confused between despite and in spite of. The most important thing, and the first rule to remember, is that we don't use of with despite. So we say despite the weather. We say in spite of the weather, but we say despite the weather. So despite does not include of. Now we can use despite or in spite of with a gerund or a noun. So we can say despite.
Okay, so you get an idea. Okay, so I've showed you 2 technologies today. One at really low level, quick formative assessment, word wall. The other one, Screencast-O-Matic, completely free, really being used a lot in technology at the moment, and in language teaching it has a great place. Now I've got a special handout for you. I'm just going to put this onto the screen. If you email me, I will send you some videos to show you how to use Screencast-O-Matic, how to use word wall. So if I just quickly do a screen share, because I know we're at the end of the session now, if I just jump over and just explain really quickly. So I have a website, it's called teachertrainingvideos.com. It's very, very popular. And what I do is I make videos to show teachers how to use technology. And you can see on the front page of teachertrainingvideos.com at the moment, advanced ideas for word wall. And also that video is all about Screencast-O-Matic. Now I've got a special handout for you. All you need to do, let me just open it up onto the screen. All you need to do is to contact me, okay, at teachertrainingvideos@gmail.com. Just send me a message, just put the subject AISOFLL and just say, hello, I am blah, blah, blah from blah, blah, blah. I'd love to know where you're from. And automatically, I'll put this in the window, automatically you will get the handout. And the handout shows you how to use word wall and how to use Screencast-O-Matic, okay? And you can just click and watch the videos of me showing you how to use word wall, how to use Screencast-O-Matic. So all you need to do is email me, and it's automatic. This is not my personal email. This is just an email for this handout. teachertrainingvideos@gmail.com, and automatically you will get the handout. Just put subject, put the subject in and just say, hello, I am blah, blah, blah from blah, blah, blah. Automatically you will get that handout. I'm going to stop sharing and just put that in the chat window, guys, just so that you've got that, all right? And if you remember, though, it's teachertrainingvideos@gmail.com. All you need to do is to contact me on that, and that handout will come to you. And I think I'm exactly on time. It's 5:30 in England in the morning. I'm going to be going back to bed in a minute because I'm very tired. I hope that was useful. Thank you very much for inviting me. My first ever talk in Indonesia. So lovely to do a presentation. That's going to be my 56th country that I've now presented in. And I really hope that that was useful. And also back again to you, and thank you for your talk. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Okay. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Mr. Russell Stannard. And it's really awesome presentation and insightful that you introduce us to a new tools, like word wall and then screen capture. And hopefully all of the participants have taken notes just now for all of the theory and then the practices of what you have shared just now. And I just want to remind also for all the participants, don't forget to email Mr. Russell for getting the slides from and the videos, in teachertrainingvideos@gmail.com. Thank you. And hopefully, even if this is your first time for having a presentation to Indonesia, hopefully for the next time you come to Indonesia directly and then visit how beautiful Indonesia, and you can see it. Thank you, sir.
I would love to come. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And now for all of the participants, once again, we want to remind you, if you have any questions, you can directly chat us in the column of chat box. Until now, we just found 3 of questions. And yeah, I will let the committee later on to choose which questions will arise. Yeah, we can see from the chat box. Now we will have a question and answer session. Yeah, we have 30 minutes for question and answer session. For the first question, I'd like help from the committee, please. So, to choose which question? For the question and answer session, I will start to have questions from participants in face-to-face, I mean from the Le Méridien Hotel, Jakarta, please. Yeah, here it is. Question 1 to Mr. Yuan Bonner from Eric Firmansyah, Peace Corps, Indonesia. The question is, would you please explain how VR and AR can help teachers assess students' language competence? Please, would you like Mr. Yuan Bonner? Sir, I think
Sorry,
you have to mute.
I couldn't unmute. Okay. Okay, hello again. Sorry, where did that question go? It was about assessing students' language competence using VR and AR, if I recall. Yes. So to be honest, I do use my VR and AR activities as kind of a review at the end of my units. And then that way, it's all about the students producing the content that they've practiced in class. Sorry, I'm just gonna move this over here. Okay, sorry, one more time. So the way I use the activities is that once the students have learnt the language point or have practiced it and produced, say, the recipes or studied the fable, it's all about them showing that they understood. So just like you would with any other language activity, it's not specific to VR or AR about assessing their language competence. If the students are creating, say, the recipes in that VR activity about a job simulator, at the end of the lesson, we sit down and we talk about the instructions and whether or not they included everything that was necessary. And we just cover it just like we would with any activity that's talking about procedural texts. So I often find that AR and VR is best used as a review tool after the students have already developed the skills and they want an opportunity to practice them. In terms of assessing them, usually it's just in the moment. If students are using incorrect language relevant to the teaching point, then I just correct them. I usually don't use it as an assessment tool itself.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Yuan Bonner. So that VR and AR is not a tool for assessing language, but it helps teachers to see how students can understand and then master the English competencies itself. Now we come up with the second question, please. It's also for Mr. Yuan Banner from Ibu Eri Rahmawati, Untirta. The question is, would you like, can this VR and AR be applied in Indonesia now? How can we find these tools and applications?
Okay, so basically speaking, and I've seen some similar questions in regards to the students need a smartphone, essentially, if you want to take advantage of VR and AR. And if smartphones are not available, there are a few companies that exist. Unfortunately, I don't know about Indonesia specifically, that are able to provide like a school set of, for example, Google, if I move it there, Google Cardboard devices. And the smartphone is already inserted inside them, and it's sort of delivered to the school as a set. You can use those. Of course, they cost money. But if your students do have access to a smartphone, all they need to do is go to the App Store and download the applications that you recommend that they download. Some of them don't require internet. So if you can either ask your students to download them using the Wi-Fi at home or using cell reception, that is usually enough. I'll post a few links into the chat of, for example, the Google Cardboard app on the Android store and 10 applications that I found on a website for education as well.
Don't forget to turn on your audio.
Yeah, thank you. And we hope government and all of the stakeholders of education can support us in using this technology to help teachers and then students to use this technology in our teaching learning process. And we still have time, so next question, please. Again, for Mr. Yuan Banner from Mrs. Sari. How can we incorporate AR and VR limited internet and device access environment so that we can take advantage of that?
Right. So that's kind of similar to the previous question. I covered a little bit about internet. Essentially, it's kind of this strange situation where if I ask your students to use a smartphone and access 360-degree videos, usually those are accessed via YouTube, which means your students would need internet in order to access it. Kind of ironically, if the students have access to a single VR headset like the Oculus Quest, once the applications are downloaded onto the Quest, you don't need internet access in order to use them. So there's kind of that problem there where if you're using the student's own existing tools, internet is a little bit more important. And if you already have your own VR headsets, the internet is a little less important. A lot of the applications, though, again, I was about to post that link there, for Google Cardboard, you can download the applications onto the phone prior to the lesson and then use them inside of the class. But again, it is somewhat dependent on either buying a headset first or having your students use downloading the applications prior to the lesson. And that is particularly true with AR. AR needs the collaborative AR applications that I showed. They don't need Wi-Fi to place those objects into the real world, but you need at least cell phone reception so that you can upload the GPS coordinates to the application. So that is necessary, unfortunately.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Yuan Bonner. And we have had 3 questions from online participants. And we give times also for participants who are present at Le Méridien Hotel. Yeah, we give you time for asking questions to our plenary speakers, either for Mr. Yuan Bonner or Mr. Russell Stannard.
Can I give questions? Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nia Kurniawati. I'm from Surya Kanchan University. I have a question for Mr. Russell. So because in Indonesia, not every city is high-tech and then supported by high-band high bandwidth environments. Do you have any ideas or any application or tools that we as teachers can use in low tech or low bandwidth environments? And for Mr. Iwan Banner, I think I have tried to use AR or VR in offline settings, but I never tried it in online setting. Do you have any ideas how to conduct the lessons or the classrooms virtually using virtual, VR, because we have to use, like Google Box, and then how to organize the classrooms when we are doing the online classroom using AR or VR? Thank you.
Thank you. For the first question is for Mr. Russell Stannard. Due to the lack of internet or low bandwidth internet, do you have any suggestions for any technology that is suggested to be used in a low band technology, please?
Yeah, there are a few technologies around that are not so internet heavy. And certainly, again, making use of smartphones is key. One thing I could suggest to you, actually, I do on my website, if I just quickly jump over to it, on my website, I do actually have a section called languages, where I show you lots of different kind of websites that have got free tools for developing students' fluency, Vocaroo, and there's a lot of sites here with content that, again, teachers don't necessarily know about. So you might find that interesting. This, for example, wonderful flashcards. These are fantastic and all completely free. This one here with lots and lots of different free websites there that have got content that you can use. A few tools that come straight to my mind are Answer Garden. Is a lovely technology, one called Answer Garden, which is a great way of getting students to collaborate and work together. It's free, it's very easy to use, it's not particularly internet heavy. Another one is Wakelet. Wakelet, again, is a collaborative tool for discussions. That's also worth looking into. Very light, not a heavy technology, and again, nice for collaboration, etc. And a nice one of games is something called Digital Dialects. Digital Dialects. Okay, that's a games one that's also really nice. So I write these names in the chat window for you, but those would be free that I would look at. But I would definitely suggest taking a look at that section of my website where you've got all the stuff specifically about free technologies for kind of things that you can do online for free. Okay, Digital Dialects and Answer Garden and Wakelet would be three very light technologies that you could probably do with students who have got a slower internet connection. Okay, yes, Vocaroo is a great technology. Nice to see someone mentioning Vocaroo there.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Russell. And then we come up with the second question to Mr. Iwan. How do we apply VR and AR in an online classroom, please? Would you like to mute your...
There we go. Okay, sorry, I received permission. Okay, yes, good question about using AR and VR in online lessons, such as Zoom or done asynchronously via, say, Google Classroom. The challenge is if your students have access to a printer, a lot of augmented reality materials can be printed out directly in, or the students can use a screen such as the computer monitor as the targets. Now, often a lot of AR apps use a special target to activate the 3D content. So if you show your students let's say you're doing a alphabet activity with some younger students, and you want them to see the kangaroo 3D model in front of them, you could hold up the card in the Zoom session. And if they already have the application downloaded on their phone, and simply hold it up to the screen, they'd be able to see that AR content come alive in front of them. As I said, or they could print it out, place it in front of them, and then view it at their desk in the Zoom session. When it comes to VR content, though, again, the Google Cardboard is great. When it arrives, it is unassembled. It is a flat piece of cardboard. So it's able to be mailed to your students rather cheaply. In some countries, it'll count just as a letter because it's that thin. So sending a distribution of VR cardboard headsets to your students is also an option.
Thank you, Mr. Yuan Bonner. And we next invite for another participant who wants to ask from the participant in Le Méridien Hotel, please.
Okay, my question goes to Mr. Bonner. I'm interested in smart class where they can label the transcription of what people said that you present earlier. My question is how far the accuracy, and do you think it will change the interpreters' jobs in the future? Thank you.
Okay, so in regards to the smart glasses, yes, it's very early days with live transcription. In my research project, I have to make sure that students understand that the subtitles will include the things that they say themselves, because the transcription software can't tell the difference between two different people. That said, the technology for differentiating different voices is improving, but I wouldn't see anything on a consumer level for at least a good 3, 4, maybe even 5 years from now. But that said, having the ability to see the subtitles for what you say and for what the other person says, students are, sorry, not students, they haven't done the project yet. Students hopefully will be able to differentiate between, oh, this is something I said and this is something that they said. But it needs to be used in a quiet environment. You can't use smart glasses subtitles in a crowded environment. It would have a lot of problems, as you can imagine. I'm sorry, was there a second part of that question? Or did I, sorry? Okay, apologies. If there was a second part to the question.
Okay, considering about the accuracy of that technology, do you think it could change the or replace the interpreters' jobs in the future?
I think that, unfortunately, I didn't have time to show you the last part. So if you know Google Translate and how it's able to physically change signs into different languages if you use your smartphone and hold up Google Translate in front of it, you can see how that could be applied to eventually to smart glasses. And then you would be able to see translations for things you see as well. The problem is, yes, that technology will continue to improve and continue to get more accurate, which will affect, I think, the beginner level students and maybe some interest in learning languages, but you're not going to get mastery of business negotiations and conversations by simply relying on subtitles and automatic translation of, say, a restaurant menu. It's only going to help basic interactions at a restaurant, at an airport, things like that. For anybody who wants to actually use language in work, they're still going to need a real teacher and a real classroom environment to learn that language within. So I don't see our jobs being replaced. I see our jobs changing to more of a tutor, to more of a higher level focus, and a little bit less on students who just want to learn how to go to a hotel and order a meal in a foreign country.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Yuan Bonner. We also still have 9 minutes more for question and session answer. We invite another participants who wants to, yeah, this is it. Now we come up from online participants. Yeah. Question 4 to Mr. Russell Stannard from Sari. Do you have any suggestions of low-tech tools that we can use in an internet-limited environment?
Yeah, I think I mentioned just a few because I think it was very similar to the question before. You know, I was talking about Wake. We shared some things in the chat window. Wakelet also Answer Garden, and I also suggested digital dialects if you're looking for games to use. Another thing that you can do is make use of your mobiles. WhatsApp is a great way of getting students into groups and getting them to share stuff. And there is actually a WhatsApp application that you can put on your computer. So you can even use it on your computer if you want. You're not only limited to using WhatsApp on your telephone, but WhatsApp can be very interesting because of course you can get students to record themselves speaking as well. So that's another nice technology to look at. But yeah, we've kind of looked at some of those before I mentioned. Obviously, remember, when you're using Screencast-O-Matic, if you're giving students feedback or you're going through the vocabulary or the grammar, you make the video, you share that video with the students. The students just need a mobile device to play the video back. There's no special technology that they need. They just simply can play back that video immediately. We're using particularly the feedback idea is particularly prevalent at university level. So for example, where I work, students' dissertations, students' essays, giving feedback, I can open up the students' work, I can mark the area, turn on the screen capture, record myself, then send the video. The students just need a mobile phone and they can play back that video recording immediately and listen and watch as I correct their work, which is very powerful. And that doesn't require a lot of internet connectivity because you're simply expecting them to play the video back on their smartphones. So also it's not particularly internet heavy in that way.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. Now we come up with the next question. This is for Mr. Yuan Bonner from Christine Permata. The apps and the projects are really interesting and new for me. How do you evaluate the students' work about the project and the language competence? What points are in your evaluation rubric?
Okay, so this one is somewhat similar to the earlier question about the use of AR as a review tool or a way for students to practice what they've already learned. So again, with the Job Simulator app, I looked at the actual output of the students, their written instructions, and we all looked at that together at the end of the lesson. And for the tilt brush activity, since it was a reading exercise, I evaluated their understanding of the content of the fable by what they showed us in their virtual reality tours of the 3D models that they had created. So if they're very superficial, like, oh, at the beginning of the story, they went to a farm and they just draw a farm environment, then maybe that shows they didn't really read the fable very deeply. But other groups adding characters in the middle of doing something showed much more that they had read and understood and discussed the fable and how they could demonstrate that understanding visually. So again, much like many activities, it's not necessarily the AR or the VR itself. It's about what they produce and looking for those language points in there. Just quickly with the AR ones, with the campus tours, of course, we went around and we checked the grammar of the information they gave. Was it accurate information? And then when the first year students went out and did the campus tour and then came back, I sort of quizzed them on, okay, what did you learn? And did it stick? Do you remember the right information? And that kind of thing. That was how we did it. It's more of a review at the end. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Yuan. We still have 4 minutes left. We still invite for any questions from the participants. Now we have the 6th question from Ibu Susi to Mr. Russell Stannard. Is there any ideas, especially apps, for improving English pronunciation of non-English speakers?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm studying Polish at the moment, and one thing that I use is Google Translate, because you can put whole sentences in Google Translate, and then you can save those sentences. And so you can, I have the sentences in English and then in Polish, and then I can save them all by just clicking on the star. And then I have the whole collections of sentences that I want to work with. In fact, it's such an easy tool to use. It really is such a great way of working. In fact, I'll quickly show you because it's so simple. Just if I click over here and come to Google Translate, and if I click here on the star, you'll probably see all my sentences. There they are. Okay, so now with these sentences, I can listen in Polish.
Swoje jedzenie przechowuję w ziemi.
Yeah.
Wiewiórki wspinają się po drzewach.
Okay.
Lubię spacerować po kolorowym lesie.
Okay, so really simply I can do that. And do you know that you can do this as well? I don't know. You can, when you make the sentences and then you just click on the star, you can add them, collect them together. So for example, I've got 10 stars here. And then what I can do, I can click on this button, export to Google Sheets. Okay, I click here and it exports all the sentences that I'm practicing. So I've now got all these sentences, okay? And the great thing is you can put these straight into Quizlet and then you can practice them in Quizlet. So if all I need to do is so simple. I just copy these sentences, okay? This is exactly what I do when I'm studying Polish. So I'm just going to copy those. If I jump over to Quizlet now, and it really is saves a lot of time because Quizlet is brilliant for pronunciation practice. And then I just click on create. Okay. So just click on create, new study set. And I'll give it a name. So I'm going to call this one, for example, new Polish words and sentences, because I often use sentences. I click on import and I can just paste in those words. Just paste them all in one go. So just paste all the words in and then click on import. And then all of those cards are made. All of them instantly. And I just click on create. And now I can start to practice the vocabulary and the pronunciation. And one of the lovely things, if you click, for example, on flashcards, and what I do is I go to options and I choose audio on. And then I turn the audio on for Polish because I'm learning Polish. And I turn the audio off for English because my English is pretty good. And now I can study these words. I've got the word in English on one side and then click.
Swoje jedzenie przechowuję w ziemi.
Okay, and put the word in and then I can practice you could do this with single words or you can do this with sentences. Yeah?
Wiewiórki wspinają się po drzewach.
Okay, so then I can practice, yeah? Wiewiórki wspinają się po drzewach. And I can practice the pronunciation of the sentences that I want to work with. And one of the nice things is as well that I can change it. So what I normally do is I start with listening to the
Wiewiórki
sentences
wspinają się po drzewach.
in Polish and then saying, okay, so that squirrels are climbing the tree. Good, that's good. Next one.
Lubię spacerować po kolorowym lesie.
Okay, I like walking in the colorful forest. Good. Next one. And I use it
Jesień
like
to
that.
piękna pora roku.
Okay, so it's really great for for doing pronunciation work. And all I'm using is combining Google Translate with Quizlet, and I can do lots of pronunciation work. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Russell Stannard. Yeah. What a very insightful and nice, awesome presentation from two of our parallel speakers today, Mr. Ian Bonner and then Mr. Russell Stannard. We thank you a lot for your time and your presentation. We do hope that we can get it and we can apply it in our teaching and learning process to improve and then to have a better understanding for both teacher and students later on. Now, as the time is almost over, I give it back. Oh, sorry. We still have time? There's still a question, sorry, to Mr. Russell Stannard from Mr. Taufik. Using Screencast-Matic, in which students record their presentation themselves, would open the chance for the students to read the text during the presentation. Do you have any question? Do you have any suggestion to deal with this issue?
This is a great question. Really good question. And you know what? I don't worry about it. In all honesty, even if the students prepare a presentation and then they read it out when they do it orally, they still are doing loads and loads of language work. And I've tried it myself in Polish. where I've made a presentation, simple presentation, and then prepared it and recorded myself. And it was such a good activity. So it doesn't have to be that the students do it completely naturally. One thing that you can do with them, when I use this idea, is that I do lots of preparation work in the class, prepare the students to do their presentations, limit them, maybe 3 slides, 4 slides maximum. That's plenty of time. Get the students to prepare in class, think of the vocabulary, think of the sections. Maybe they even make the presentation, the slides, but then they can do the recordings at home if they want, okay, rather than do them in the classroom. If they write it all out, don't worry, because it's still going to be loads and loads of language practice, and that's the most important thing. And some students do write it out. I try to advise them, yeah, plan it, but don't write it out. But I don't worry if they do, because my experience of doing it in Polish is that you're still learning so much. It really doesn't matter. It really is a great activity to record yourself doing a presentation or talking over a picture or talking over a chart or talking over a graph. All of those things will really help your fluency.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Russell. Thank you, Mr. Yuan. And as our time is almost over, we thank you again. And I give this time and the floor to the Master of Ceremony. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tiarma. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be the end of the plenary session 1. We will proceed to parallel session at 1:15 Jakarta time after lunch break. Thank you for your kind attention. Untuk nanti memasuki ruang paralel. Kartunya sudah disediakan di meja registrasi. Oh ya, udah ada sekarang. Kartu paralel nanti disediakan di meja registrasi.